Every night, the same hand logs into the same game, but tonight, everything is about to change. Late at night, he signs into the world he's poured 10 years of his life into. He steps back into Legend of Heroes as his character, Outboxers Arrow 9. A new message blinks, but he's got better things to do. The second he appears, the whole global chat lights up. So, what should he do first today? Behind the screen, he just smirks. First things first, time to check this month's rankings. Legend of Heroes 2, 10 years old, and still alive because it's just that good. Players pick a character from this world, and the system shapes them around how you play. Points pile up as you play, and the server rankings reset every single month. And today is the day the new rankings drop. Romantic Cat, ranked 95th, weighs him down. Yellowstorm, second place for 21 months, swears this is the month she takes the crown. He can't resist needling her. Don't get cocky, Stormy. Second place forever, he says. Don't stare at a tree you can't climb. She snaps. This time it will be different. First place again by a brutal 800 points. She absolutely loses it. 800 points, and he won't let her forget a single one. He signs off with one last jab. Good night, dream of me. Both of them log out at once, the eternal first and second gone together. Left all alone, Romantic Cat draws her own very creative conclusion. Somewhere far away, two people log into something called Pleiades. He comes to in a lavish room he's never seen, gasping for air. Every breath is a struggle. Where is this place, and why does his head feel like it's splitting apart? He drags himself to the mirror, figuring he just caught a cold. The face staring back is his old game character, Jude Bayer, only younger. Then the memories hit him like a hammer. A whole life that isn't his comes flooding into his mind. Legend of Heroes 2, a fantasy world of kingdoms at war, where angels and demons walk the land. He's fallen into the game as the young, powerless Jude Bayer of a noble house. A knock at the door, and someone is calling him Young Master. Did she really just call him Young Master? He scrambles up, caught completely off guard. It's Maja, Jude's personal maid. He plays along, digging through borrowed memories. His fiancée has come to visit, and she is not happy about the wait. His fiancée is Cordelia Chase, daughter of a famous magician family. Cordelia, the very character his rival Yellowstorm always played. Fast. Best move first meet people and figure out where he stands. So he steps in to greet her. Nice to meet you. He almost blurts out his gamer tag and catches it just in time. But she's staring at him like she knows exactly who he is. You! Why are you here? Turns out his hated rival was a girl all along, and now she's his fiancée. One word is about to blow up his entire night, and that word is simply you. Under a glittering chandelier in a noble parlor, a young officer and a pink-haired noblewoman are locked in a standoff neither one saw coming. A silver-haired maid freezes mid-step, staring at the scene and demanding to know exactly what is going on. The young master snaps, shouting straight at whatever just revealed itself to come out and show its face. The pink-haired noblewoman's jaw drops, caught completely off guard by what she just witnessed. Ending Maker, Chapter 2, Season 1 begins right here, right after that jaw-dropping cold open. Replaying it in his head, the young master watches her ramble on, unable to shake the feeling that something about her is deeply, suspiciously familiar. He throws his hands up, begging everyone to just calm down for 1 second. His mind races. Cordelia Chase is only here because she is engaged to Jude Bayer, so why does she keep triggering every alarm bell he owns? The name that pops into his head is not Cordelia. It is Yellowstorm, a legendary handle he never expected to hear again, and the maid's confused young master only makes his poker face crumble harder. Flustered, Cordelia clears her throat and makes a hasty excuse to step outside, and he can only mutter an awkward okay in return. The two of them sit across from each other in dead silence, the kind of cringe-inducing quiet only a first meeting between secret gamers could produce. Deciding to stop guessing, the young master resolves to test her directly, and Cordelia can only stammer out a confused yes. The moment he does, he drops the old shortened guild greeting on her, half expecting nothing to happen. Instead, something massive stirs and he confirms it under his breath. There is a reaction. No coincidence could explain a tell that blatant, and he knows it. Before either of them can process it, the maid steps in, insisting they find somewhere private to talk. Cordelia's mind is already spinning, recognizing the exact phrase for what it really is, a cooperation initialization code. The room goes quiet again, a single vase of white lilies sitting between them like a truce flag. Neither wants to wave first. He fires off the second half of the test, an oddly specific set of coordinates only a fellow nullifer would recognize. Her thoughts confirm it instantly that code belongs to Legend of Heroes 2's cooperation initialization sequence, time-stamped midnight, and she repeats the coordinates back to herself in disbelief. He seals the deal, proposing they meet properly at midnight in his own garden where they can finally speak freely. Her hand trembles as she gives the one-word confirmation that changes everything. Roger? Oblivious to the storm he just set off, Yuter casually calls Dahlia over so they can head out. As she passes by, the room buzzes with startled hearts and stammered young lady that neither of them acknowledges. She walks off without a word, her expression completely unreadable beneath that curtain of pink hair. Yuter offers a painfully formal goodbye, promising to await the day he meets Miss Cordelia again. The maid presses him for answers, but the young master just laughs it off with a shaky, "Ha-ha! It's fine!" Alone with his thoughts, he admits he is about to lose his mind over one single word. Roger! Even her word choice gives it away completely. There is no doubt left. She is Yellowstorm. Night falls over the garden, and somewhere under a pair of crescent moons, a lone figure lets out a long, waiting sigh. He steps out onto the terrace, grumbling about how cold the north stays, even in summer, then spots her right where she said she would be. He calls out, dropping the legendary handle like a password, "Yellowstorm." Cloaked figure waits at the garden gate, hood up, clearly not wanting to be recognized by anyone else in the house. She turns at the sound of his footsteps, letting out a soft breath as their eyes finally meet in private. He closes the distance across the garden path, footsteps echoing as two secret identities are about to collide face to face. He hesitates, then asks if he can finally say what has been on his mind since that day. While she can only think that she is thrilled, she already knows exactly what he is about to confess. A single snap of fingers cuts through the dark. Somewhere in this world, that quiet gesture is about to answer a question nobody wanted asked out loud. Another face turns. Another stunned finger points back. "Hey, you too?" The realization is spreading whatever secret this is. It isn't just his. "Hey, me too." The chain reaction keeps going. Turns out getting yanked into this world wasn't a solo trip after all. There's a whole cast of new arrivals comparing notes. Under a star-strewn sky, the real conversation starts. No jokes, no memes, just two transplants meeting in secret to compare exactly how they ended up here. "Let's stop messing around and get to business. When did you wake up? 2 days ago. When I opened my eyes, I was suddenly in Pleiades. How about you? I think it was 2 days ago as well. Why are you so unsure?" A crack already showing in a story that should be simple. It can't be helped, don't you know? About Jude Bayer's constitution. The name lands heavy because Jude Bayer isn't just a name here, he's a walking diagnosis. 9 blocked yin pathways. A rare illness born from an abnormal surge of yin ki, and the wreath and chains seem to hang over this boy's entire existence. The damage is brutal, ruined blood vessels, choked off ki circulation, a body too weak to stand and mana use taken off the table completely. No cheat powers here, only a countdown. And the cherry on top? A cure that's next to impossible to find. This isn't the secretly overpowered isekai lead. This is the isekai lead nobody would pick. Now that I think about it, this is a little unfair. Why did it have to be Yuder Bael? Even though he has the talent to overcome the illness, the bitterness is real. Cue the classic isekai gripe Chiba style. It would have been so much better if I became a cheat character like Leon or Maximilian. Anyone who's ever read one of these stories knows exactly that dream and exactly how rarely it comes true. It off anyway. I was really sick 2 days ago, saying some weird things while unconscious. Weird things? From what I heard from Maya, I asked where I was. Aha, so that's why you're unsure of your memory of the last 2 days, huh? A dot about to connect. The girl rounds on him. Wait a second. Then are you not okay right now? Before pivoting straight to her own complaint. Hey, I came to meet you in the day. Why did we have to secretly come out here? Don't you know how hard it is for a grown lady to escape without their parents knowing? He isn't having it. How could I, with 9 blocked yin pathways, jump a fence? And since when were you a lady? A beat of pure excuse me? Silence answers him. Since I was born, eh? The most deadpan comeback of the night? Then the real bombshell drops. Yellowstorm was a girl? Then you were a boy? Two people who apparently gamed together in a past life, both catfished by their own avatars. Of course I was a boy. Sure, and I was a girl. I just didn't say anything since it felt unnecessary. No shame, no apology, just casual chaos. Alright, really didn't know. Then the counterattack. Of course I would be confused if you went around saying, Roger, isn't that only a military term? Clearing his throat, he steers them back on track. Ahem. In any case, don't be too mad. There was another reason I told you to come to my house. What was it? My father, Count Bael, took my brothers and vassals on an expedition. So the mansion is quite empty right now, slimming our chances of getting caught. I do remember sending them off, so I'm certain. A perfectly logical plan for a second. Huh? A hairline crack splits his own certainty right open. He turns the question on her. Are you like that too? Huh? You've become the character from the game you nullified for so long, so I first felt that we were inside the game. But as it goes on, I feel like my previous life was Yellowstorm itself. The old login screen flickers behind the words, a memory that shouldn't feel more real than reality, so much so that my previous memories and Cordelia's don't feel like they're clashing at all. Calling Count Chase fathers even felt natural. She turns it back on him. And you also just called Count Bael my fathers. His answer comes without hesitation. It was natural and matter-of-factly, yeah, I did. and then the gears lock into place. Wait, that means we didn't come into the game? This is now. Reality. No countdown, no respawn, no game over screen to bail them out. This is dangerous. If this is really reality, that means there's no way for us to return. The words that turn an isekai adventure into a life sentence. Yeah, and it just had to be this world, a groan of pure bad luck right before the sky itself starts burning. Fire swallows the horizon because Pleiades carries a death sentence of its own. This world is destined to be destroyed by the great summoning ritual. Whatever piece they just found in that garden, it's already running out of time. The Count's garden goes quiet behind him, but somewhere out past the hedges, that fire is already rising over Pleiades. Two people with no cheat stats, one blocked off body, and a countdown to a world-ending ritual. Chapter 2, Part 2, closes and the clock is already ticking on Part 3. The Kingdom of Pleiades has an expiration date, and the only two people who know it are treating the apocalypse like a side quest. The capital burns, towers collapse into flame, ash rains over the skyline, and the fire keeps climbing. The verdict is already written. Pleiades is destined to be wiped out by the great summoning ritual. No twist, no mercy, just a countdown. Cut to a boy smirking beside a monstrous bear, casually eyeing a backtracking icon like it's a rewind button on Doom itself. He jokes about scrapping the pic named Leon or Maximilian or whatever, and the redhead next to him is not amused that he can laugh at a time like this. Introducing the odd pair behind the smirk, Yuder, the warrior, and Cordelia, the magician, a duo the game itself apparently labeled off-meta, the characters nobody was supposed to pick. A slow, knowing smile spreads. Cordelia's caught on to something Yuder hasn't said out loud yet. The instant they start treating the end of the world like a game again, motivation hits these two former Nollifers like a slot machine payout. No fights expected, splitting the loot apparently. A system-style prompt flickers over grinding gears. Will you make the party? YRN. Yuder can't quite believe he's back to party forming after 5 years of going solo. He can't resist a jab about partying up with the player who always finished in second place. Cordelia's temper detonates instantly. What'd you say, punk? Yuder plays it off as just a part of life while Cordelia storms off mid-tantrum, whipping back around to demand he repeat himself. A single raised finger, a sly grin, now. Calm down and listen. The yin and yang spin together as Cordelia lays out her real problem, her 9 blocked yin pathways. Fix them the normal way, and it takes forever unless they find an item soaked in harsh yang energy to clear the blockage in one shot. Yuder insists she doesn't have to carry it alone. That's the whole point of party play. Cordelia isn't convinced as far as she knows, no such item exists anywhere nearby. A finger to the chin, a knowing smirk, there is one, at the Belkine Mountains. Cordelia freezes mid-step, repeating the name back like it just short-circuited her brain. Her jaw drops, she's put it together, and she does not like the math. Are you talking about the necklace of the sun? She blurts, then immediately shushes herself. They're practically plotting a heist in whispers. Her hand slaps over her own mouth, eyes blown wide with disbelief. Because the necklace of the sun doesn't just sit around waiting to be picked up. It's a drop from Lizagang, a full-blown mid-game boss. 2 level 0 nobodies have no business anywhere near that fight. From behind, calm as ever. Yeah, so I've been brainstorming, and I have a solution. Cordelia's disbelief flips straight to suspicion. You have a solution? He drags it out, savoring the moment. Yeah, so... Then the reveal. Nobody saw coming. Let's go on a date. Cordelia short-circuits completely, staring in dead silence. What? She's got him by the collar before the shock even fades while he just grins through it. I'm saying, he finishes the pitch anyway. Carriage ride, moonlit mansion grounds, an actual date, like this is the obvious solution to a boss-tier necklace heist. Art 1 closes on the title card, the promise of a date hanging over a world but still marked for destruction. Cut to daylight, a carriage rolls through a garden bursting with sunflowers, and whatever plan this is, it's officially in motion. Cordelia steps out in a sundress and sun hat, completely out of her element, fumbling through the world's most awkward opening line. The weather is quite good. Yuder answers just as stiffly. Indeed, before the narration cuts in whatever comes next, the flowers alone already made the carriage ride worth it. The flattery is flying thick, servants gushing that no beauty in the room compares to Cordelia's. She's practically glowing under the praise until her fiancé mutters something under his breath and she rounds on him, scandalized that he'd dare tease her like that. Across the garden, another suitor swoops in with the classic line, gesturing toward a great view and inviting Cordelia to go take a look with him alone. Smooth, but not smooth enough. Footsteps, fast ones, something is already in motion. 2 sets of feet slip away from the crowd entirely, leaving the would-be suitor in the dust. Once they're clear, he finally breaks, groaning that he genuinely cannot do this. She just tells him she doesn't care if he curses, as long as nobody else hears it. She's the one giving orders now, hissing at him to slow down before someone notices they're putting distance between themselves and the group. She snaps that he's already nagging, then cuts straight to business, demanding he lay out the actual plan. His mind races through the real question neither of them has said out loud. How does a level 1 character actually pull off capturing Lizagang and walking away with the necklace of the sun? The necklace of the sun isn't just bling, it's the one item on the map capable of suppressing the powers of evil itself. It drops from Lisa Gang of the Red Moon, a monster that doesn't show up until the back half of Legend of Heroes 2, sealed away in the Sun God's temple deep in the Belkine Mountains. Heavy lore for what's supposed to be a garden stroll. Then comes the twist that flips the whole setup. He never said anything about capturing Lezigang at all. She freezes, completely thrown. Then what exactly are they doing out here? He waves off the question entirely, telling her not to sweat the details. He has his ways. Instead, he wants to know if she brought what he asked for. Of course she did, though it was Russ smuggling it out hidden under her dress the whole time. He beams, calling her his Yellowstorm for coming through, and says he'll trust her on this one since she delivered. She is not having it. She's never agreed to being anyone's Yellowstorm, and she'd like him to stop saying disgusting things immediately. Business first, how are they actually doing this? He points, cool as anything, and promises it's simple. He nods toward a cliff in the distance. Oh! He scouted it on the way in, and the terrain lines up exactly with the map from the game. The plan, once they reach that spot, he carries her, and they jump. She's speechless for a second, then he adds the real detail, that the Sun God's temple opens up if they just loop around the flower bed and head down from there. She demands to know why they'd need to jump off a cliff at all if there's a normal way down. He counters with a question of his own. Has she ever actually taken the west path in the game? His answer, it's a shortcut, nothing more to it. She insists, she knew that already, she was just testing him. Her face says otherwise. This is a girl who cannot lie to save her life, and he clocks it instantly. There's a real reason for the detour too. They could take the long way, but they can't exactly drag Diana and Dahlia along. Since neither of them can use magic, the cliff route conveniently leaves them with zero chance of keeping up. It is dangerous though, he admits, so before they jump they need to leave behind some insurance. She has no idea what that means yet. He lays down the terms first. She has to promise to hear the whole plan without cursing at him, and no hitting him either. She grumbles a reluctant fine and tells him to just get on with it already. Cut to after the jump, the two of them impossibly close, faces inches apart, whispers already spreading about what just happened between them. Someone's clocked exactly what he pulled, using their engagement as the perfect cover. And that's the line that lands like a gut punch. She realizes exactly what he used their engagement for, and the chapter cuts out on her utter disbelief. That's where this part of the climb ends, insurance paid in full, and secrets very much not kept. The next leg of the descent picks up soon, so stay close for what happens after that jump. He'd promised her one wild afternoon, and diving off a literal cliff turns out to be the opening move. You promise, right? She asks, and neither of them knows yet how deep this bed is about to get. After we jump off the cliff, she whispers, lips a breath from his, the whole almost kiss just a show staged for their watching maids. She recoils on the spot. Are you crazy? No way! Jumping off a cliff was never actually part of the deal. Yuder doesn't blink. Do you have another plan then? One that works? If so, say it, quick. Behind them, their maid Maya is already catching on. She and Dahlia are starting to smell a setup. Cordelia yanks her hat down over burning cheeks, choking back a scream while Yuder breaks into a cold sweat beside her. Their hands find each other anyway, trembling, sealing a plan neither of them wants to admit to. Chum! The Ending Maker logo flashes up because the real chaos of this chapter is only just getting started. Footsteps thunder closer. Young master! The maids shout, closing the distance fast. Cordelia finally cracks. Fine, I'll do it! I'll do what you suggested! Yuder allows himself one satisfied perfect, already 3 steps ahead. Okay then, their hands lock together tight enough to hurt. My lady! A maid shrieks as Cordelia's heels leave solid ground behind her. Flight! Yuder catches her midair, her hat torn away by the wind, pulling her against his chest as they drop. The fall stretches on and on, wind screaming past them both. Then nothing. A soft, magical landing catches them clean, not a scratch on either of them. Up on the cliff, the maids stare down completely speechless. What on earth? Cordelia can't even get a sentence out, face burning and buried. Come on, Cordelia, hurry, Yuder urges, and she barely manages to stammer back. She blurts out the first excuse she can think of, shouting it at full volume. I want to spend some time alone! With Sir Yuder. Yuder nearly loses it as she doubles down. He won't do anything inappropriate. Sir Yuder is a gentleman after all. He privately wonders if he overpaid for this particular cover story. Mortified, Cordelia tries to smooth it over. We'll be back before dinner, so don't worry. Dahlia isn't buying a word of it. My lady, just when did you get so close to Sir Yuder? You shouldn't distance yourself from your escorts. It's dangerous. Maya swoops in to vouch for him instead, practically glowing. I can also vouch for the young master's gentlemanlike demeanor. Dahlia isn't having it. That's not the problem at hand, is it? But the argument buys exactly the opening Yuder needed. Now's our chance. Let's scram. The maids give chase, shouting after them through the trees. Deep in the forest, the two finally stop to catch their breath, and Cordelia rounds on him immediately. And just why did I have to do that? She demands. Yuder fires right back. I also had to carry you off the cliff, and I'm the one who had to make the excuse for it. She's not backing down. Why are you shoving all the embarrassing stuff onto me? He deflects with a completely straight face. Stop being difficult. I have the 9 blocked yin pathways, you know. She roasts him without missing a beat. How am I supposed to carry you with these thin, frail arms? Mocking him with a sing-song delicate fray ale before snapping, see what happens when it's cured. Just you wait. Yuder just shrugs it off. And it's not like you're the only one who's done something embarrassing. I did one thing too. The flashback hits hard. He'd written her a love letter requesting a carriage ride to the flower fields, his maid reading over his shoulder the whole time and pushing him to open with, "To Miss Cordelia, who I dearly long for." Back in the present, he's begging her not to bring it up, please, while she just stares him down, completely done. Cordelia's patience snaps clean in half. You wanna die? He just laughs it off. Anyways, let's get a move on. I'll lead. 10 minutes later, gasping and stumbling through the underbrush, they walk straight into something far worse than embarrassment. A body knocked flat on the ground, HP bar draining fast, the quest suddenly turning very real. Cordelia snaps at him for not taking the lead like he promised, but one look and she drops the attitude fast because he's barely standing. He can barely get a sentence out, blocked meridians, a body running on fumes. She realizes just how fragile he actually is. Her eyes go wide. Something about this isn't adding up. 2 words, no shame attached, Carrie. Me, they're on a deadline and he's done walking. A cave mouth carved into the cliffside, a waterfall trickling at its base precisely where the game marked it. She's hauling him piggyback through the ruins, gasping, half convinced she's carrying a corpse, but the route is matching the game beat for beat. He snaps at her to quit with the one-liners and stay focused. Then he sees it, the temple of the sun god, glowing gold in the distance. Finally, this is the place. In the game, Lazy Gang of the Crimson Moon got sealed here after going toe-toe with the Sun Paladins. Standing this close, he doesn't just remember it, he can feel it and the difference hits him instantly. She catches him sensing something and asks outright, is that the flavor text firing off, the line that always triggers walking into this temple? That exact one. In the game it was just text on a screen. Here, she's living the feeling herself. Watching her, something shifts in his chest like the divine air is scrubbing something raw clean. His own heartbeat catches him off guard and he has to talk himself down. Fast, no monsters this close to the temple. Divine power keeps them out, everything still tracking with the game. She asks if they'll really be safe. He answers straight, still rattled, while she hums to herself, homing in on exactly where Lisa Gang was sealed. He talks himself into a corner. Cordelia is just supposed to be beautiful. That's the whole explanation for the heart flutter, nothing to do with the girl underneath. Then he spots at the seal, right where the game said it would be. They step into the chamber built to hold a demon. She stares up at the sheer scale of it, an entire room engineered for one purpose containing Lizagang. He says the quiet part out loud, whatever needed this much effort to lock down isn't going to be an easy fight. She isn't sure there's even a way to win it. His jaw sets, no turning back now. She starts digging something out of a hidden holster and tells him to get ready. He just answers, Roger. She warns him to look away for a second. She's got things stashed under her skirt. Turn around too early and it's a death sentence, she says. He doesn't argue. Out comes an honest alchemy kit, ink, quill, brush, all smuggled under a ball gown. He can't help himself, dubbing her Cordeliamon on the spot, an entire pocket dimension hidden in that skirt. She just tells him to be grateful for the effort. The ink uncorks and the real ritual prep begins. She keeps working and tells him to hold still. He fires back a deadpan, thanks for the blessing, same needling energy as always, ritual or not. A quill dipped in blood traces the first line of a sigil. He grabs a brush of his own, determined to prove he's not just dead weight. Okay, time for me to show off my skills. Whatever comes next, it's showtime. Setup's done. Next stop, whatever's still sleeping behind that seal. And that's where this part of the chapter leaves off. Chapter 5 kicks off with the 2 leads breaking into a temple to summon a bound demon on purpose because apparently that's a normal Tuesday for them now? Deep in the sanctuary, a massive crimson magic circle waits carved into the marble, torches lining the steps like it's been expecting company. Cordelia freezes mid-step, staring at the array. Whatever this thing is, it's clearly bigger than anything she's dealt with before. This is Belastin's Magic Circle, the masterpiece of history's greatest barrier mage, a name that's about to matter a whole lot more in the story's second half. Here's the catch, this circle can lose its grip on a demon it's already caught once, and it only runs for 3 minutes flat, earning it the nickname Cup Ramen's Magic Circle. Small window, big consequences, since its power scales directly with the monster chained inside it. The lead finishes drawing it out from memory alone, joints cracking from the effort. Cordelia can only stare, memorizing something this insane on the fly is not a normal person's skill. Cordelia, now it's your turn, he says. Her whole face short circuits on the spot. You do know what this is, right? He asks, already braced for the worst. He's too tired to explain it twice. Of course I know, who do you think I am? She snaps and he's already biting back a laugh, because she is spectacularly bad at lying. Reality check time, he can't activate the circle himself thanks to his illness, so it's on her. And since she's still level 1, she flat out doesn't have the mana to hold something like Lazagong for the full 3 minutes. The power source is the seal itself, magic still flowing through the binding of the sun god Solari right under their feet. The plan borrowed the temple's power to yank the sealed demon's real body into view for one brief moment. Won't be for long though, he adds, flashing the kind of grin that never means anything good. One drop of blood should be enough to activate it, right? She asks, steadying her hand over the blade. Yeah, just don't cut yourself too deep, he warns back. She presses the knife in anyway, unbothered. It's weird seeing you worried. She needles him, knife still in hand like it's nothing. The blood hits the circle. One word seals the deal. Activate. The array roars to life beneath her, blasting light and heat up through the temple as her dress whips in the sudden wind. Oh, it's glowing a success, he starts to say, right before the whole room lurches and rips the sentence out of his mouth. The ground won't stop shaking. He can feel the mana density spiking hard enough to set his teeth on edge. Her eye reflects it first, the seal of Solari itself, straining under the pressure and starting to crack. The chains wrapped around whatever's on the other side are seconds from snapping outright. And then it breaks chains, whipping loose in a spray of red light and sparks as something massive claws its way through. More chains give way one after another, the temple floor lighting up like a furnace beneath them. And there it is, wings, horns, and a presence that fills the entire chamber. Lisa Gang's real body, dragged into the world one link at a time. The last chain snaps free into empty air. Nothing's holding it back now. For one gut-dropping second, everything goes black and silent, just the sound of something enormous finishing its arrival. The circle held. Velastin's magic circle activated exactly as intended, and his stinging eyes are proof of what that cost him. It's a success, his skin crackling faintly from the backlash. However, the story isn't done with that word yet. Lisa Gang looms fully into view now, chained but very much present, radiating a weight that presses down on the whole room. I feel like I'm gonna get crushed under the pressure. He admits no shame in saying it out loud. Late game boss energy, unmistakably. His first real thought once the shockwave passes, is Cordelia even okay? She absolutely is, bursting back into frame, sparkling like she just cleared a boss fight on the first try, completely unbothered by the demon lord 3 feet away. And in true anticlimax fashion, her brain immediately jumps to Snacks, squealing that Outboxer has arrived, mind already somewhere else entirely while he just stares, completely lost. Then she snaps back to business just as fast, jabbing a finger at the demon. There! On its hips! She calls out, spotting something the fight almost buried. Glowing against Lisa Gang's restrained form, the necklace of the sun, the real prize hiding in plain sight the whole time. He could only stare at her, completely floored. This girl, because she just spotted the objective mid-catastrophe like it was nothing, and that's exactly the kind of moment Part 2 is going to build on. A sleeping superboss, a priceless relic just out of reach, and a plan that can only end one of two ways. The healer hands over her staff with stars in her eyes, more excited about the loot than the danger. Hurry while it's sleeping, she urges. He agrees better to snag it with the staff than risk grabbing it by hand. The relic sits right in the grip of something massive, chained to the altar in the dark. Careful. Step by step, the staff creeps toward the prize while the sleeping giant looms over the whole chamber. Item, get, item, get! The two of them celebrate like kids who just pulled off a heist. He can barely believe it worked. Almost too easy. The wind shifts, a red eye splits open in the dark and horns rise silhouetted against the dying sun. The chains rattle. Wings the size of the hall spread wide as the sealed demon lord rises to full height above them. Dead silence. Then the scream, we got caught, run. Even mid-panic, one hand still snatches for the loot. Priorities. The demon's voice booms out, and it is not happy about the intrusion. Blasted insects. A wave of raw power tears through the chamber. He's caught dead center, sent flying into the rubble. He hits the ground hard, bleeding, barely conscious. He's still sealed, and this is the power leaking out anyway. What happens if those chains ever break? He tries to push himself up. Nothing responds. His legs won't move. She rounds on him, furious and terrified in equal measure. He's still chained up, still can't move, and he's still tried to provoke it. She plants her heels into a glowing magic circle, done playing it safe. Magic missile! The spell rips loose at full power. It slams straight into the sealed demon lord's chest in a blinding flash. He can't believe what he's watching. She actually hit it. She actually hit the thing that just threw him across the room like a rag doll. Coughing through the smoke, he snaps at her. Is she insane? Why would she provoke it further? She ignores him completely, waiting for the retaliation that should be coming. Nothing comes. She just stares, confused, and his confusion hits at the exact same moment. A level-up effect. No way, that's what just happened. Because Lisa Gang wasn't supposed to be touchable at all. In the original game, he was a mid to late game demon, powerful enough to end the story on his own. Lisa Gang of the Crimson Moon, the demon who killed the Sun Paladin himself and got sealed inside a temple built just to contain him, way up in the north. If this played out like the original story, this wouldn't even be a fight, it would be a slaughter, credits rolling before either of them landed a single hit. But the seal changes everything. Chained down by Velastin's magic circle, the untouchable final boss suddenly isn't untouchable, and the damage numbers prove it. One measly point of damage, and a level up notification pops anyway. Because the level gap is so enormous that even a single scratch on a demon this strong is worth an entire level. They just found the ultimate cheat code, a super boss, too shackled to fight back, and too strong to give anything less than jackpot experience. Two gamer brains start doing the math at the exact same time, calculating exactly how much free experience is standing chained in front of them. They lock eyes and grin. This sealed demon lord just became the best grinding spot either of them has ever found. End of chapter. No piracy, no spoilers, support the original release. Chapter complete. A sealed demon lord, a stopwatch counting down from 1 minute, and 2 extras who absolutely should not be in this fight. That's where chapter 6 kicks off. Cordelia opens up with everything she's got, screaming magic missile at point-blank range like the spell has a discount if she says it enough times. She keeps chaining it, magic missile, MAAGIC missile, pure chaos energy, no aim, just volume. And somehow it works out for her anyway. A stray hit knocks loose a level-up drop mid-combo because that's just her luck. Yuder watches from the side, deeply unimpressed. She's landed hits on literally every part of this demon except the steel chains actually holding him down. That is not accuracy, that is a curse. The demon lord isn't laughing though, chained, furious, and spitting venom at these weaklings who dared touch him. Yuder's quiet for a second, jaw set, clearly done watching from the sidelines. I will also level up. And he throws himself into the fight, no plan, just spite and momentum. Cue the classic hero changes Shiza mind gag. He channels the necklace of the sun and calls on the blessing of Solari, gold light exploding out of his fist. Full Chet mode, the honorable he who brightens the morning that chases away the night, awaken and burn up from my fingertips, dramatic as it gets for a guy about to do basically nothing. Because here's the twist, his yin pathways are sealed 9 ways over, so real magic is off the table, and his kai circuits are blocked too, so martial arts are a no-go. His entire strategy is being absurdly overgeared instead of actually skilled. All that build-up, and he lands a grand total of 1 damage, peak anti-climax. Doesn't matter to him though, level up is a level up, and he's celebrating like he just soloed a raid boss. The demon lord is losing it now, screaming that these insects have gone insane. He can't believe this extra actually memorized the sun god's prayer. Cordelia lays out the real stakes. The Laston's magic circle only works once, so this is their one and only shot at beating up the sealed Lesegang, the guy they've nicknamed Cup Ramen's magic circle, and the clock's almost dead. 1 minute! The countdown everyone's been dreading finally gets said out loud. Missiles and sunlight fly together now, full combo assault, and the demon lords finally rattled these extras. Ending Maker keeps rolling straight into the finish. The sky burns gold as the ritual site holds its breath for what's coming. The demon lord snarls a promise before he's fully sealed away. I've memorized your faces. I've engraved your souls into my mind. Chained down, one glowing eye burning through the dark, he is not done being terrifying just because he's losing. On the day I'm freed, I will make you feel immeasurable pie, cut off mid-threat, which is somehow funnier than if he'd finished it. One more shot. They're not letting him finish that sentence anyway. You extras, listen! He tries again, but nobody's listening, and the temple keeps crumbling around him. Final blow lands in the silence between one heartbeat and the next. The demon lord goes out mid-threat, vowing to see them again, collapsing into a burst of red light and chain-wrapped defeat. And immediately the two of them break the tension completely. Yeah, let's meet again at Act 7, Yuder jokes, waving it off like they didn't just nearly die. They start walking back through the ruined temple, adrenaline fading fast. Just the two of them now, quiet footsteps replacing all that chaos. Cordelia's got a look on her face, something sly, something that says, this isn't quite over. Ha! Back to bickering immediately. I already knew it, but you really are insane. You're not of the right mind either. Plus, you attacked first. She checks in on him. Are his blocked pathways getting any better? He explains the extreme energy jamming them up will take time to melt away with the sun's power. She shrugs it off. They leveled up, got the loot, time to head home. Yeah, let's go turns into an accidental hug, and Yuder immediately gets side-eyed for it. What are you doing? You want to get hit? Just support me a bit, he says, completely unbothered. Turns out she's not being dramatic. Her legs are actually shaking too hard to walk after that fight. Fine, he says, letting her lean on him, and she can't resist getting one more jab and better than you asking for a piggyback ride. That night, Yuder and Cordelia get home only to be slapped with 10 days of house arrest. Turns out reckless demon lord beatdowns of consequences. At least the loot's worth it. The necklace of the sun, Garius's old relic radiating pure yang energy, and the apprentice magician's wand, hand-ordered by Count Chase specifically for Cordelia. Life moves on quietly outside the manor walls. Doves drift past the estate in the morning light. The storm from the night before long, gone. And just like that, Yuder jolts awake in his own bed with a groggy, "Wah!" The whole Demon Lord showdown already behind him. 10 laps around the training grounds, and Yuder is already convinced his body is staging a mutiny. Between the cheering staff and his own screaming legs, the so-called 9-block yin pathways have never felt more like a curse than a power-up. Face down and half dead on his bed, he clocks the real reason he's still standing, the necklace of the sun glowing quietly on the nightstand, patching his body back together while he sleeps. Then the frame pulls back all the way back. Stars, a spinning earth, and a cold truth stamped across the void. If this world is real, then survival isn't a side quest, it's the only quest. This is the endgame of Legend of Heroes 2, and the whole planet Pleiades is on a countdown clock. Somewhere out there, a ritual is already circled on a calendar with its name on it. Total annihilation. The great summoning ritual isn't subtle about what it wants. Demons and angels both come crashing through the sky at once, full Armageddon, no opening act. So that's the mission stop, the ritual before the sky splits open for real. Simple enough to say, considerably harder to survive. The light show fades to static, and the story yanks itself back down to ground level, back to the guy who's actually supposed to pull this off. Which is the joke, really. Saving the world takes more than a weakling who can barely run 10 laps and an on-star magician. Right now, that's the entire roster. Face still mashed into the pillow, one bead of sweat rolling down. This is the chosen one the apocalypse is waiting on. Cut to Cordelia, eyes narrowing. Of course, the kind of 2 words that never precede anything good. She turns, gown sweeping, and her shadow stretches out monstrous and wrong on the floor behind her. Whatever just clicked into place for her, it's not small. Somewhere else, a knock lands against a heavy door, and on a nearby dresser, the necklace of the sun sits catching the light, waiting to be picked up again. A week since he clawed that necklace back, and Uter's counting down the real prize, his house arrest, and Cordelia's runs out in 3 days flat. Blue sky, drifting clouds, quiet, the kind of calm the story only grants right before it takes something back. A chill runs down Cordelia's spine out of nowhere. What she starts and doesn't finish. She bolts upright in bed, book falling out of her hands. What was that? This bad feeling clinging to her chest didn't come from nowhere. Meanwhile, the actual plot takes its time. The first big event of Legend of Heroes 2, the social gathering, is still way off. For now, it's just Uter getting clowned by a rival waving a magic circle in his face. Hey, second place! Are you unable to memorize Belastin's magic circle? No wonder you're in second place. I can draw it with my toes, the rival brags, and a footnote immediately roasts him. He never actually said it that smoothly. Cordelia isn't buying his angle either. Is that outboxer punk scheming something? Back at Cordelia's door, a knock cuts through, quick, urgent, impossible to ignore. Come in, she calls, not looking up from her book. Maya bursts in, glowing with excitement. Miss Cordelia! Whatever she's carrying, it's clearly not routine business. It's a sealed letter, held up like a trophy. You've received a love letter from young Master Uter, the kind of letter, the footnote clarifies, that only passes between actual lovers. Cordelia immediately backpedals in her head. He's no gentleman, sure, but he insists he's still a noble. Yeah, she mutters out loud, but... Her eyes says everything, her mouth won't wide, welling, caught completely off guard. Maya isn't letting this go. Why are you so excited? Cordelia deflects, but Maya's already vibrating. It's great news. Maya calls out the real tell. Cordelia's barely been eating, worried sick over Uter, and this letter's supposed to fix that. Cordelia, unbothered, is currently inhaling a dessert too expensive to touch back on Earth, insisting she was totally eating tons, never mind that 1 kilogram gain she just quietly copped to. Somewhere darker and quieter, an apology surfaces out of nowhere. Sorry for getting upset last time during the picnic. The memory rewinds to the real flashpoint the moment someone saw Uter catch Cordelia midair and vanish with her off the edge of the Belkine Mountains. I thought it was a very dangerous thing to do, the voice admits. I was there to protect you. All I could do was worry. However, the thought settles. I understood later on. That young miss had found someone she could truly be with. The rival's smirk lingers on that thought, a beat too long. Rewind further, the day Maya handed Uter a romance novel with the scene already bookmarked. Even if it's an arranged marriage, I want a steamy love. Cordelia, standing right there, does not survive the secondhand embarrassment. Ugh! Uter's brain short-circuits on the spot. What the hell did that maid say? Because apparently Uter sent his own love letter the day of their date, and now Maya's practically salivating over how hot the words might be. Read it quickly, she presses. Yeah, Cordelia stammers, already bracing herself. Her actual plan: skim it fast and get rid of the evidence before it does any more damage. She grips the letter tight, jaw tense, sparks practically flying off her nerves before she's even broken the seal. The seal finally cracks and the opening line lands soft and devastating. To Miss Cordelia, who I truly long for. That's as far as composure gets her. She loses it completely while Maya, delighted, narrates the meltdown in real time. She must be loving it! Face buried, breath ragged, Cordelia is not okay, and she's not convinced this letter is as sweet as it looks. There must be some kind of hidden joke that can only be read by reading the first letter of each line, right? She finds it. Whatever's hiding in that acrostic, it hits her like a slap, and the chapter cuts out right on her shock. And that's where this part of the story sets its pen down. Uter's countdown ticking, Cordelia rattled by a letter that clearly isn't finished with her yet. Chapter 6, Part 2, closed for now, the ritual still looming, the letter still unresolved, and the next move waiting just past the page. A secret letter, a hidden god, and a girl who has already decided this is a date. Chapter 7 of Ending Maker kicks off with chaos brewing. She scans the letter line by line, convinced there has to be a hidden code buried in the first letters. She's determined to crack it. Turns out only the very last line was written differently. Her instant read: this guy actually used his brain for once. The message points her somewhere unexpected 2 days from now, 2 in the afternoon, inside the confessional at the Temple of Varuna. Varuna, the god of the hidden veil, watches over every secret whispered in his name across the continent. Every temple built in his honor exists for one purpose: a place to hand over your secrets, personal or political, no questions asked. The confessional itself is described as nothing short of perfect, flawless, built for exactly this kind of clandestine meeting. Her attendant can't resist teasing her about what might be waiting inside that letter. Sure, it's not a confession of sins. She catches herself hoping. If it's really him behind this, he wouldn't call her out here for nothing. She turns to her attendant Dahlia with the plan: meet young Master Uter at the Temple of Varuna 2 days out. Dahlia's jaw drops. A meeting request phrased just like that immediately reads as something much more romantic. Dahlia lights up completely, already spinning this into a real date the moment restrictions on going out are lifted. Word comes back that Yuter wants to see her just as badly, but her actual thought is pure and simple. He just wants to see the level up effect. She tries to play it cool, announcing she'll head to the temple in 2 days. Dahlia immediately clocks the mood for exactly what it is. Dahlia throws a fist in the air, swearing she'll clear the schedule and give the two of them real time alone this time. Caught off guard by the enthusiasm, she can only offer an awkward thanks and let it happen. Title card lands Ending Maker from author Chwer Young and artist Dunn 2 days later, right on schedule. The bell tower marks the meeting point, standing tall over the town as the appointed hour approaches. A carriage rolls through the streets toward the temple grounds, carrying her straight into the setup she's been dreaming about. The carriage pulls to a stop right outside. Dahlia sees her off with a wink, promising to hang back nearby so the two of them can have their cozy moment uninterrupted. Before she goes in, Dahlia calls out one more cheerful send-off, promising to come back for her in 30 minutes flat, and then the mask drops. In her head, she's blunt. Forget the date talk, this is just a two-person quest. She repeats it twice because she needs to believe it. Heels click against the floor as she makes her way through the temple, glancing around nervously. She knocks at the door, and a voice from inside tells her to come in. Yuter's already seated, greeting her with a casual gamertag hello and asking if she made it here on time. She fires back with her own tag as a greeting, then cuts straight to business. How exactly did he manage to borrow the temple's confessional, and did he have to dig up some dirt to pull it off? He warns her that if anyone heard what she just said about digging up weaknesses, they'd get the wrong idea entirely. The real answer is way simpler than blackmail pure cash. He's the son of an earl after all, and money buys temple access just fine. If his family heard their 17-year-old talking like that, they'd be floored. Standing outside the Grand Temple, she cuts to the chase. Why did he actually call her out here? There's clearly nothing special about this spot. He explains he called her here because there's a hidden event waiting to be found. She just stares back, completely lost. She'd searched everywhere, even the Legend of Heroes strategy forum, and found absolutely nothing written about the Temple of Aruna. Of course there's nothing online about it, he says. He's the only one who knows this secret, and he's not about to hand over every hidden event he worked hard to dig up. She lunges for his book, demanding to know if he seriously doesn't upload his strategies to the forum for everyone else to use. He clarifies fast he only posts the stuff other people already know about. She rounds on him, stunned he'd just been hoarding information this whole time. The realization hits her like a truck. She grabs her own hair in disbelief, finally putting it together. No wonder she could never catch up no matter how hard she grinded. He just shrugs it off, saying he never expected her to be naive enough to post everything she found either. She demands answers, so what exactly is hidden here? And she's quick to add she better not be getting used again, not like that whole mess with the necklace of the sun. He just laughs it off. The secret finally comes into view, a dungeon book. It's a book that pulls whoever opens it straight into a dungeon. Sometimes that dungeon exists in a simulated space. Magic circles swirl around the pages as the mechanism hums to life, but other times, he explains, the dungeon it drops you into is somewhere real. Clear the dungeon, and the reward is a skill book teaching both a martial arts move and a magic skill. He already knows the footwork skill from clearing as a swordsman, but he's never beaten it as a magician, so he has no idea what she'd get. Her eyes go wide. Wait, he hasn't beaten it either? Then that means... He confirms it with a smirk. Clearing it now would make her the very first person to beat the Temple of Varuna simulated dungeon as a magician. First, she lets the words sink in. Her whole face lights up at the thought of being first. She's already bouncing off the walls asking where the book is, if it's hidden in the temple library. He points out she's standing right next to it. He'd already grabbed it before she even showed up. The book sits waiting, its golden seal glowing faintly under her fingertips as she reaches for it. Impressed by her enthusiasm, he asks if she wants to dive in right now. She doesn't hesitate for a second, ready to enter immediately. A flash of light catches him off guard as something shifts in the room behind him. The dungeon book flips open on its own, pages fluttering as the light building inside it spills out across the room. And with the portal humming to life, the two of them are one step away from becoming the first to ever clear it. The system locks them inside the Temple of Baruna's dungeon book, a virtual realm ripped straight from the game they used to play. Cordelia comes to on the cold floor, groaning like she just got hit by a truck. Turns out teleportation magic gives her motion sickness, and she cannot believe this is actually happening to her. He calmly asks if she's okay, and that question alone makes her want to scream. She snaps that no, she is not okay, and demands to know how he's standing there completely fine like it's nothing. He admits he has no idea why he's fine, and offers to rub her back instead of answering. The nausea finally fades, and she decides she might actually survive this after all. Looking around to confirm it, they're standing inside the exact dungeon from the game, right down to the torches on the wall. He points out that since it's virtual, dying here just teleports you back out. Should be a relief, right? He pinches her for the reaction, completely unprompted. She fires back that pain is still pain even in a simulation, so what exactly is he calling a relief? He laughs it off, insisting she gets to experience the real game without actually risking her life, and she grudgingly admits he's good at talking his way out of things before asking if the labyrinth route suits them better for real combat. He agrees, just by a bit, and adds that he's got her along for backup anyway. Her expression says she's already regretting agreeing to this. The ending maker title card flashes as the real dungeon crawl begins. She demands to know why he suddenly brought her up out of nowhere. He explains he's more of an events and items guy than a hunter, the type who racks up achievement points by working every angle the game offers. Then he turns it around on her. She's the pure combat nerd who scores big through raw, heavy damage hunting. Wings flare and a blade of red light cuts through the air as she shows exactly what that kind of hunting looks like. Word is her hunt count alone could double a rival hunter's just from sheer numbers. She admits that since this dungeon book is one only he really knows, her combat skills might end up carrying him through it, and he teases that she's basically saying he'll just ride along for free. She shoots back, completely confident that she brought her best gear this time. Out of nowhere, he asks her to turn around for a second and she has no idea what's coming. He whips out a glittering magic stone with a flourish, bragging that this time his attacks will be more than just basic magic missiles. Turns out she came prepared too, having stepped extra magic stones into her skirt the second he called her in. She clears her throat and insists these are not just any ordinary magic stones. Her father happens to be one of the 4 strongest men in the north and head of a family, famous for magic, and he's the one who forged these high-quality stones. He realizes he's looking at Cordelia's actual trump cards. She beams, proud of how reliable her family's gear really is, while he notes she's the type who keeps giving her best stuff away to the point of nearly going broke. He's impressed, but points out the stones are technically hers to keep. He hands over something in return, a stack of prepared magic scrolls he'd been keeping ready. She studies the circles etched onto them, one for the thunder attribute and one hidden behind it for light. He explains he couldn't just stand behind her doing nothing the whole fight, so he made scrolls tailored to both their attributes from scratch. She freezes, stunned, barely getting out the words you made. It hits her making these means he had to have memorized every detail of the magic circles himself. He teases that surely she can at least draw a basic magic circle herself, what with being ranked second and coming from a family famous for magic. He's clearly enjoying himself, holding back laughter at how flustered she's getting. She clears her throat, admits she's basically running on empty mana right now, and asks for some of his, and when he asks what happened to her own supply, she stalls before answering. Her answer catches him completely off guard behind. She admits that, thanks to her 90 severed veins condition, she currently can't use any mana of her own at all. He explodes, demanding to know if she already burned through the necklace of the sun's healing after just 10 days, while she insists it was never going to heal that fast and begs him not to be so angry. Turns out she came stocked with mana potions and spare armor for exactly this situation. He realizes the truth, she planned to use him as her personal mana refill station from the very start. Footsteps echo down the corridor as the tension between them slowly fades into the dungeon's silence. He chugs the mana potion like he's back in the game, immediately regretting it as his body strains to hold all that power, but in the end, he gets exactly the mana he needed. She asks if he's really sure he doesn't want to wear the armor she brought, but he'd already ditched it earlier for being way too heavy, explaining his disguise alone weighs him down enough that armor on top would make it impossible to even walk. He finally relents with a sigh, then pauses like he just remembered something important. Goblins close in fast and the corridor lights up with spellfire as the two of them find their rhythm. Cordelia lands the first real hit, magic crackling down the hallway. She keeps pushing the advantage, refusing to let the enemy regroup. Jude backs her up with support magic exactly when she needs it. They read each other's timing like they fought side by side for years. One of the goblins staggers under the combined assault. Another wave surges in behind it, and neither of them slows down. They regroup for half a second, already bracing for the next strike. Another goblin lunges out of the shadows without warning. Lightning tears down the corridor as their combo attack lands clean. The last of that wave finally drops, and the corridor falls still. "Roger that!" Cordelia snaps back the second Jude gives the signal while he tells her to hold off just a little longer until the enemy gets closer. Footsteps echo through the dark hallway as something creaks nearer. Jude explains that the best timing is the moment the enemy comes into view, and the instant it does, he calls it now. Cordelia casts grease to slick the floor out from under the monster, sending it sliding and shrieking in confusion. She's already gearing up for whatever comes next. A glowing magic circle appears as Jude confirms the follow-up next is bind, right? The goblin roars in protest as the binding spell locks it in place. Jude explains that after knocking an enemy down, you follow up with a restraining spell, and it's something Cordelia happens to be great at, then hands her a mana potion to keep her going. She eyes the potion with visible exhaustion, clearly running on fumes. Jude reminds her that grinding experience off low-level monsters like these means there's no real time to rest, and once she's done drinking, they're moving straight to the next fight, downing the potion in one go. Privately, she just wishes there were a potion that could double her experience gain instead of fixing her stamina. A level up banner flashes across the screen for both of them. The corridor goes quiet except for their footsteps as they press deeper into the dungeon. 5 hours into the virtual dungeon, Cordelia finally cracks, cursing this miserable place and complaining that clicking a mouse in the game never made her legs actually hurt like this in real life, muttering that she really shouldn't have worn heels. Jude can't shake the feeling he's heard this exact complaint before. Deja vu? He asks quietly if it's too hard for her, and she just blinks back a confused, "What?" He clarifies they've stopped to rest a few times already, but it's still been a long stretch, and he's genuinely wondering if this is too much for her very first time in a game like this. She goes quiet, caught off guard by the question. Her eyes narrow slightly as she actually thinks it over. Privately, she admits that normally just reaching his level would have been a miracle, since the monsters here hit hard with mixed attributes and the dungeon's difficulty is brutal, and yet somehow, the actual hunting feels almost too easy, which makes her wonder what exactly is supposed to be so hard about any of this. The answer is staring her in the face. Jude's own hand-drawn map of the dungeon, marked with every monster weakness and terrain hazard laid out with perfect precision. It's not just combat prep either. He handles support magic just as well as he handles the attacking. She realizes he saw exactly what she'd need going in and prepared thoroughly for every bit of it. Then a chill cuts through the moment as a massive clawed shadow looms into view, and something about it feels genuinely thrilling. Jude breaks the tension, asking if they should rest a little more before pushing on. She insists she's fine. It's just that her legs ache from all the walking and her stomach souring from chugging so many mana potions. And she admits she's been constantly on edge simply because he keeps out-leveling her and rubbing it in, though she swears she's still fine, prompting him to teasingly agree that does sound rough. She fires back that he's always stuck in second place behind her, and that must be pretty heartbreaking for him. That comment finally breaks her patience completely, and she erupts that he is unbelievably, impossibly annoying. Laughing it off, he asks if she's doing okay otherwise, and she practically shouts yes. He tells her then they should get moving since the boss room isn't far off now. She warns him not to laugh at her and insists he better be ready to reward her handsomely, and he teases her not to be like that, admitting he has no idea what kind of magic skill reward they'll even get, since he's never played a mage before. A heavy silence settles over the corridor as they approach. Only their footsteps break the quiet as the boss room finally comes into view. Their character sheets flash up Jude Bayer, level 8, still locked out of every skill except the 9 in severed veins condition, and Cordelia Chase, level 7, an apprentice mage armed with magic sensitivity, magic missile, grease, and dig. Deep in the dungeon, the two press forward, closing in on the boss room at last. Cordelia snaps at him not to laugh, warning him to brace himself if the rewards turn out to be garbage. Ian admits he's never cleared this place as a mage, so even he doesn't know what's waiting. The corridor stretches on ahead of them, swallowed in shadow. Still no end in sight, but they keep pushing deeper. Cordelia wonders aloud how long they've really been down here, dreading that 5 hours might have slipped by in the real world too. Turns out this isn't an ordinary dungeon at all. It's an imaginary dimension where time runs on its own separate clock. Dahlia is supposed to pick her up in just 30 minutes, and Cordelia isn't sure there's enough time left to make it. Ian's expression shifts like he's just caught on to something. Turns out there's nothing to worry about after all, he says with a knowing smirk. A strange rune flares to life ahead of them, the boss room announcing itself. The pair approach the towering gate together, closing in on whatever waits behind it. A glowing sigil blooms beneath Ian's feet as he crouches down, case in hand, getting ready. Wow, Cordelia breathes, taking in the sight of the chamber beyond the doors. The room practically screams that the boss is just beyond this door, about what you'd expect from a 10-year-old game, Ian jokes. So what exactly is the boss, Cordelia asks. The answer comes back cold, a fury wolf. It's been nothing but goblins this entire dungeon, she demands to know. So why is the boss suddenly a fury wolf? An electric-type monster showing up here means a whole new enemy category just got unlocked, and that's the last thing they need right now. Ian just claps along, clearly enjoying her panic. Cordelia turns to see exactly what he's digging for in that case of his. Don't attack until I give the signal, Ian orders. Just focus on dodging first. Cordelia has no idea what he means and tells him to wait. Don't tell me you're planning to steal the last hit again, she growls, flashing back to Ian, torching every goblin she'd already bound herself. Confident as ever, Ian claims he'd never try that against a boss they might not even beat, which only proves to Cordelia that he did it with the goblins on purpose. Setting the argument aside, she asks again, so what exactly is he planning? She wants to know if this fury wolf is somehow different from a normal one. There has to be a reason he wants her holding back. Ian pulls out a scroll, a 6-pointed sigil glowing faintly across the parchment. It's not that it's different, he admits, just that. He needs to prepare something in advance before they go in. With the setup half explained, the real fight is about to begin. The boss door creaks open ahead of them. A crimson rune burns in the dark, marking the threshold they're about to cross. The two step up to the glowing door together, torchlight flickering against the stone. And there it is, the Fury Wolf, level 17, crouched in the shadows and ready to move. Its eyes flash yellow in the dark as it locks onto its target. It's looking at you, comes the warning. Both of them tense, catching the full weight of that stare. You're right, Ian says. Looks like it's going to attack him first. Its claws scrape against the stone floor, closing the distance. It's coming, Cordelia warns, and both of their eyes go sharp. The wolf lunges and Ian throws himself clear as Cordelia screams for him to dodge. Yellow Storm, Ian shouts, unleashing his attack as the wolf reels back. Cordelia grins, unrolling her own scroll. She already knows wolf-type monsters are idiots that only know how to attack in a straight line. Taste the true power of the two restraints, she calls out as glowing chains lash around the beast. Double bind! The wolf barks and thrashes against the chains, right as the ground beneath it turns slick with grease. She steadies herself, eyes locked on the beast, already thinking 2 moves ahead. Ian reasons that tying its leg should make this a pushover, but the level gap cuts the bind's duration short, even with an enchanted item. Dragging this out will only put them at a disadvantage, he decides. Outboxer, Cordelia calls out, unleashing her attack. Hurry up and finish that stupid preparation, she snaps at Ian, patience running thin. Ian agrees with a simple, okay, from here on, it's his turn. This is the start of what he's prepared, he says, tearing open a scroll marked with a crackling sigil. Lightning, he shouts, and the bolt comes crashing straight down onto the wolf. One more, he calls, driving a second strike home as the beast howls. He told her not to attack, so why does he get to? Cordelia grumbles under her breath, arms crossed. Her eyes narrow, still locked on the fight. The chains snap. Cordelia, Ian shouts in warning. It's coming straight for her, he yells. She plants her feet, tears in her eyes with her resolve locked in. Okay, she says. She slams her staff down and unleashes a blast of pure force, sending the wolf reeling back with a roar. Strange, Ian mutters, watching closely. It's definitely still attacking. So why does it look like it hasn't taken any damage at all, he wonders, dread creeping in. The wolf snarls, crackling with electricity. Something about this feels deeply out of place. Is it not enough yet? Ian wonders aloud, then snaps to alert. Cordelia! Can you use a water spell, he shouts. I got it, she stammers back. She raises her hand, a glowing sigil forming as she channels the spell. Waterfall, she casts, unleashing a surge of water straight onto the wolf. Alright, lightning there once again, Ian follows up. As he thought, combining their 2 skills works better, just a bit more, and they got this. Cordelia glances over, wondering if it's just her bad mood talking or if he's having a little too much fun fighting solo. One more, lightning, he calls, and the wolf barks in pain. She can barely concentrate with a song stuck in her head now. Lightning, lightning, looping over and over. What about thunder? Ian asks, confused by her sudden mood. What does any of this have to do with the feeling that something's out of place, he wonders, still turning it over in his mind. A strange crackle of energy flashes through the air. And if it's a fury wolf, that means it's an electric type, Cordelia realizes. Is a whole new monster category about to show up here too? As expected of the pro, comes the praise for his yellow storm, but Ian warns they'll need to keep moving constantly against something this fast and this electric. The fight presses on without a pause. Cordelia's face goes rigid with sudden realization. Wait, she thinks, stopping cold. Lightning crashes down on the wolf once more. He's been using lightning against a fury wolf, an electric-type monster, this entire time, she realizes in horror. Hey, wait, Ian calls out too, catching on just as fast. Both of them freeze as the truth lands. The lightning arcs through the air and slams straight into the wolf's body. Kua-ah, the wolf roars, charged, not hurt. How is that any different from giving it a supplement to recharge its power, Cordelia demands, the mistake now painfully clear. With the mistake finally out in the open, the real fight for control is only just getting started. Both of them scramble to rethink their strategy on the fly. One thing's clear, they can't keep doing this the same way. The battle against the Fury Wolf is far from over. Chapter 10 of Ending Maker opens with Cordelia about to find out her partner left out something very important. Bingo, he's found exactly what he needed. He grins and tells her, "You've come to your senses," while she stares back with murder in her eyes. This, she starts, then completely loses it on him. Turns out the hidden condition for the Brank skill book was beating a boss that just got stronger, and he only just now mentioned it. He just laughs it off. Then it would be no fun, he admits, completely unbothered. Cordelia mutters that he's being way too honest about being terrible. He waves it off and tells her to get more magic circles ready. They need that skill book, fast. He holds one of the scrolls up, studying the circle with a raised eyebrow. The circle detonates, and their target tears itself out of the blast in a wall of green fire. Cordelia locks eyes with it and promises, flatly, that she's going to kill it. The Fury Wolf snarls a warning right back, and she screams that she hates it just as much. His eyes narrow. He can feel the charge building before it even starts. The wolf explodes forward, closing the gap in an instant. A last-second dodge lands clean. Ending Maker continues. The Fury Wolf's silhouette looms over them like a crest burned into memory. These wolves all share the same core traits, he explains, starting with brutal leg strength. The second trait is a straight-line charge that hits like a shot fired point blank. Simple pattern, sure, but timing the dodge consistently is its own fight. Game logic and reality, he notes, line up more than people think. The wolf's claw slams down and cracks the floor wide open. He screams her name as it changes course mid-charge and slams straight into her. She realizes too late it used the pillar to redirect itself, its pattern turning erratic now that its rank is spiked. Blood sprays and her rose slips from her fingers as the wolf lines up another pass, and she braces without knowing which direction it'll come from. She can track it with her eyes, she admits, but there's no promise she dodges clean twice in a row. His expression drops the instant he sees her back in the wolf's path. He's already moving, coat snapping behind him, one more scroll in hand. She winces through the pain, muttering a tired "geez" under her breath. He plants a foot down hard and sends a fan of scrolls scattering across the floor as she catches sight of it. His arm reaches for something out of frame, the movement quiet and deliberate. The wolf claw comes down again, but this time a circle ignites right where it lands. Of all the times, he mutters, why does it have to be now? A fresh magic circle blazes to life beneath her feet as the chapter cuts out, leaving her fate hanging in the balance. The wolf answers with its own trump card, its outboxer technique flashing into another blistering charge. Cordelia spins into a countercast, her staff cutting a bright arc through the dust. Golden runes ignite across her blade as the spell locks in. Twin impacts crack the air, magic detonating right where the wolf should be. He watches from cover as the wolf's massive frame bears down, barely holding its ground. Cordelia's ward flares and starts to crack under the pressure. It shrugs the spell off entirely. The wolf just offset her magic outright. The wolf roars in triumph over both of them. Cordelia's eyes go wide. Now what, she wonders, as everything around her seems to bleed red with panic. Memories flash past her in a blur, happier, bloodier, every version of the two of them tangled together. It's too fast, she realizes. There's no way she can stop it in time. Outboxer! He shouts back and answers with a boom of his own. Cordelia blinks, completely thrown. Eh? The wolves go down, clutching their faces, howling through a double boom that clearly wasn't an attack spell. She recoils from the smell immediately, and he can't stop snickering behind her. A dog's nose is 10,000 times sharper than a human's, he explains, and a fury wolf blows dogs out of the water. There's no way it can stand this, he grins, watching the wolf reel. He holds up the culprit, a custom-brewed special smell bomb, stitched together from whatever he had on hand. No amount of goblin grinding experience prepped you to beat a fury wolf by the book, he says. So instead, in a way only reality allows and no game ever would, he improvises. Turns out he packed the counter item ahead of time. The big reveal was staged from the start. Isn't a secret weapon supposed to show up at a dramatic moment? He asks, insufferably pleased with himself. Of course, I took plenty of damage too. Cordelia deadpans through a fake cough, her anger draining at how petty the whole act is. You really, she starts, unable to even finish the sentence. An attack is an attack. He shrugs, the guy who cares about results, not method. Sloppy in a lot of ways, she admits grudgingly, but... She wrinkles her nose at her own handiwork. I made it, but it smells awful, before admitting he's earned his reputation as the server's unbeaten #1. Same verdict. Put plainly results over process. Every time. Anyway, let's just go grab it, he says. Okay, she agrees. It's time for the disobedient wolf to be caged. She snagged the prize with a triumphant grin, holding the glittering reward up to the light. He drops terrain magic to dig a pit straight into the floor to trap it. The pit tears open beneath the wolf and swallows it whole, sealing the fight for good. A secret boss fight is about to blow up into a full-blown argument, and neither of them saw it coming. Every stat just ticked up by 1 permanently, and neither of them is complaining. Something rang out in her head, and she immediately turns on him, wanting answers. He plays it cool, hyping up the reward and the title that's coming with it, quietly hoping she overlooked the fact that he just woke up a Fury Wolf boss without warning her. She buys it completely, all smiles, ready to go collect their reward together. He fires off grease to clear the path ahead. Then she turns on him, dead serious, and makes him swear he'll warn her before ever waking a boss mob again. He caves instantly with a stammered promise, silently admitting to himself she isn't letting this one go easy. She's still fuming, calling him a jerk for catching her off guard. All he offers is a quiet, sorry, because he can't admit the truth. He took that hit on purpose to pull the monster away from her. He brushes past it with a simple anyway, moving them both along. They cross the ruined hall together, the reward finally in sight. The promised loot locks in, and 2 glowing skill books drop straight out of the air. He grips his book as it lights up, ready to crack it open. She admits opening an item is her favorite part of all this, heart racing over what's inside, and points out he already claims to know what his book holds. He confirms it, a stepping technique called 36 world steps. The system locks it in, a rank B footwork skill built almost entirely around dodging. She catches the resemblance instantly, asking if it's connected to the 12 divine thunder steps he always used to run in-game. He keeps the full answer to himself, impressed she pieced together hidden information that's only supposed to unlock after actually learning the skill. The real path reveals itself. 36 world steps evolves into the R-rank 24 Gale steps, and beyond that waits the S-rank 12 Divine Thunder steps. Past even that lies the ultimate technique, the legendary 9 heaven-forbidding steps. He can't hide how much this new power thrills him. She's bouncing with excitement, declaring it's her turn to crack open her own reward. She giggles over the fact that this is a skill book even the game's own outboxer never knew existed, dying to see what's inside. He just watches, quietly noting how excited she's gotten. Her book bursts open in a flash of light. Fire missile locks in, a rank B fire-type magic attack, and she lets out a delighted ooh. She throws up a triumphant thumbs up, declaring she likes this very, very much. With every reward finally claimed, he says, it's time they start heading back. But the moment they let their guard down to rest, more enemies close in around them, and they brace to fight instead. He shrugs it off with a simple anyway, refusing to let it faze him. He notes with satisfaction that the necklace of the sun is holding up exactly as it should. He reflects that just days ago, this much strain would have dropped him from exhaustion completely. Now he just answers with quiet confidence, of course. A countdown to a massacre is already ticking, and only the two of them know it's coming. She teases that she only landed this reward thanks to someone else calling him a smooth talker for it. He reminds her the necklace is slowly curing her old injury, and now that both their levels have crossed 10, it's time for the next step. He already suspects exactly what that next step really is. He names it outright the ambush event known as the Demon's Hand. She teases him for guessing so fast, and he fires the compliment right back at her. Every character in this world's game carries a different main story, and each one hides its own horror. No matter which path a player picks, every single ending in this game collapses into the same outcome: total destruction. But one storyline stood out above all the rest, infamous enough that players openly questioned the developer's sanity. That story belonged to Cordelia Chase. Her journey was supposed to start innocently, traveling to a grand social gathering of the 12 northern houses. It opens like a fairy tale, a peaceful tutorial inside a manor pulled straight from a storybook. Along the way come quiet side events scattered just outside the manor walls, and a hidden scene players only ever found by wandering off the beaten path. Then on the day of the gathering, the real story hits. A demon-worshipping cult called the Demon's Hand launches its ambush. In an instant, the peaceful hall is consumed by total chaos. Nearly every child of the 12 northern houses in attendance that day ends up killed, abducted, or brainwashed before it's over. Cordelia is the only one who claws her way out of the wreckage alive. She loses the knight who raised her like family, and friends she had only just been reunited with. Her story begins as a living nightmare, alone and surrounded by fire in an isolated forest after fleeing for her life. It's a forced sequence players can't skip past, so infamous that fans openly wonder if the developers are secretly sadists. Only 15 days remain before the Demon's Hand springs its ambush on the gathering. Boo! He realizes that if events follow the game exactly, Cordelia's story is set to begin with her as the lone survivor of that very massacre. She answers instantly, dead certain. If they let the game run its course untouched, the only outcome waiting for them is the world-ending catastrophe called Armageddon. He declares they need to write a new happy ending instead, starting with crushing the Demon's Hand before it can strike. She agrees without hesitation, refusing to let the 12 northern houses become throwaway losses all over again. He vows to protect even Dahlia this time. He refuses to let her be treated as some disposable NPC who dies protecting Cordelia for nothing the way the game intended. He's done following the script, and this time he's determined to save every name on that list. The fight to rewrite this world's ending has officially begun. Before this chapter closes, a breathless cry is about to shatter Jude Bayer's calm morning, but first, a promise made in the quiet dark, one that ties two fates neither Cordelia nor Dahlia's original story ever allowed. A vow taking shape between shadows and torchlight. Even Dahlia, a voice cuts through the dark, weighing the fate of a girl the game was never meant to save. Under a night sky scattered with drifting petals, Cordelia and her escort stand close, the promise settling over them like armor. I'll protect Dahlia as well, Jude vows, a line that doesn't exist anywhere in the original script. His mind circles two names alone in the dark: Cordelia Chase and Dahlia! Memories of Earth may have settled back into place, but the years spent living inside Pleiades never faded with them. Every memory of the game once called Legend of Heroes 2 is still burned into him, and so is everything that came after it. Because being born and raised in this world means Cordelia isn't just a heroine to him anymore. She grew up chasing after her own escort like an older sister she adored. A flashback blooms in golden green, young Jude crowned in flowers, holding a laughing little Cordelia close, a future that should have cost her everything. Jude swears he'll tread carefully around the cruelty baked into her story no matter how loud Yellowstorm's shadow looms. This fellow in front of him is Cordelia herself. His expression settles, unreadable, already calculating how much of that painful fate he can still rewrite. Cordelia fumbles over her words, twisting her own hair, working up the nerve to ask something that clearly terrifies her. In the original game, Jude Bayer was too crippled by the 9 severing veins to ever attend the social gathering, but now that he's healed, that excuse is gone. The necklace that cured him becomes instant material for shameless flattery, and Cordelia's own inner demon shrieks, "My necklace!" loud enough to summon flames. She waves it off, flustered, until something catches her eye and stops her cold. "You'll come with me, right?" Cordelia finally asks, and Jude goes still under the torchlight, caught completely off guard. Well, he stalls, scrambling for an answer. There was never a scenario where the original Jude got invited anywhere, and Cordelia's nerves show it, already bracing for rejection. But this Jude isn't playing by the game's rules anymore, and the smirk on his face says he's already decided. "Well, if that's what my beloved Miss Cordelia wishes," he says, cranking the charm up to unbearable levels, and she tackles him on the spot, shrieking with delight. "Stop it, you're getting on my nerves," she snaps back, mortified and unable to hide it. The title card rolls in over drifting clouds. Ending Maker presses on. A new day. A new grind. Birds chirp over distant mountains as ragged breathing pounds across a training yard. Sweat-soaked and gasping, Jude pushes through lap after punishing lap. Phew, with this, 10 laps in the morning comes to an end, he finally gasps, collapsing forward. A voice behind him offers simple approval. That's great. Praise belongs to Victor Cromwell, Count Bayer's long-retired knight, now personally overseeing Jude's brutal new training regimen. "Ha! I'm looking forward to it, Victor murmurs, watching his student drag himself back, impressed by how bright he stays even drenched in sweat. Victor tosses him a towel, mentioning offhand that it's made from the same material as sports towels back on Earth, a detail only Jude could ever fully appreciate. The old knight's eyes well up without warning, something unreadable breaking through his composed face. You don't have to feel frustrated or disappointed for starting martial arts this late, Victor tells him quietly. With your talent, you'll catch up just fine, you know what I mean, right? Jude answers simply, yeah, Victor, sir, I'll keep that in mind. That plain answer breaks something in Victor completely, and tears spill before he can stop them. Blessed is Bayer, he chokes out, silently begging the absent Count to hurry home and witness this. In his head, one thought repeats on loop: Jude is a genius, a real martial arts genius, and a late start means nothing at all. Then a voice rips through the moment someone comes sprinting, shouting his name. Young Master Jude! The cry rings out again, and both Jude and Victor snap around toward it. It's Maja, racing toward him completely out of breath. Maja? Jude asks, already bracing for bad news. Whatever she's about to say freezes on her lips, and Jude's expression cracks with alarm, setting up exactly the question Part 2 has to answer. One letter is about to turn this whole household upside down, and the shock hits before anyone even reads it out loud. Ragged breathing, wide eyes, whatever this May-dressed aide just saw, it is not good news. Downstairs, a steward casually drops the bomb to another servant. A letter has arrived from Count Chase. Jude catches the panic on his aide Yellowstorm's face and asks the obvious question: is something going on? The answer comes low and grim. This letter isn't from Cordelia, it's from her father, Count Arthur Chase. The wax seal alone says this is serious business. Jude's grin locks in place, eyes blown wide, brain fully offline. Total system freeze. Everyone else just tilts their heads at him. Oh? Dread quietly settles over the room like fog. The walk ahead stretches out under an endless sky. Scene set: the Chase estate. This is where the real confrontation begins. Gilded gates, rose gardens, old money as far as the eye can see. Intimidating doesn't begin to cover it. Jude, staring into the middle distance, can only think one thing: how did it get to this? He replays the letter over and over, wanting to talk about his actions with Cordelia. A blunt "come see me." Nervous doesn't cover it either. In Cordelia's original story, this Count was written as a bit of a pushover. Jude is clinging to that memory like a lifeline. Walking in, he spirals through every possible reason for the summons. Did the Count hear about the two of them sneaking off to the flower garden? Or worse, the secret temple meeting the second Cordelia's outdoor ban lifted. Nothing about this sounds innocent. Every step closer, the dread just compounds. A maid finally addresses him properly. Young Master Jude, and he nearly jumps out of his skin. Then the actual bomb drops. He and Cordelia are officially engaged, a match sealed by both families. His maid Maja tries to play it cool and fails spectacularly, voice shaking, hand shaking, the whole composed act falling apart on the spot. Jude tots himself down as just his future father-in-law. Surely a little deviation from the plan won't matter. It's just personally meeting the man who's about to become his father-in-law. No big deal, totally fine. Then it hits him. Wait, father-in-law means? Means wife, as in Cordelia is officially his future wife. This engagement is very, very real. He short-circuits completely, silently screaming into the void. What is he even supposed to say? Give me your daughter? He can't believe that thought just crossed his mind. Then the Count's voice cuts through everything. Nobleman Jude. Jude flinches hard enough to nearly trip. No turning back now. They march down the Crimson Hall toward the meeting that decides everything. Elsewhere in the estate, a guest named Ms. Dahlia gets quietly escorted off to the reception, completely unaware of the storm brewing under this same roof. Footsteps echo through the halls, closing the distance fast. Jude tries one last time to ask about Cordelia, only to learn she has no idea her father even summoned him. He's walking into this completely alone. Before stepping into the boss room, Jude wishes for just one thing: time for a strategy meeting. He does not get one. He steadies himself, jaw tight, sweat on his brow, staring down the door like it's the final gate. The knock lands. I have brought Nobleman Jude. There's no backing out now. One last hard swallow before the threshold. From inside, the Count's voice answers, cold and certain. Enter, nobleman. The doors begin to open. The doors swing wide. The Count is waiting. Jude is about to walk straight into the fire. Standard end of chapter notice from the publisher. No piracy, no spoilers in the comments. And that's the chapter. The face-off with Count Chase kicks off next time. Chapter 13 opens deceptively calm because by the end of this one, a legendary battle mage is going to make one nervous knight question his entire life. Out on the frontier, someone scans the drifting clouds, musing that the cold creeping in might be more than just the weather changing. Monsters have been slipping past the border more and more lately, and even in the middle of a busy supply camp, that's enough to draw a heavy sigh. Watching his father from a distance, Yuder just hopes the chaos hasn't reached all the way back to the city. Enter Alex Bayer, one of the 10 great swordsmasters of the Sealrun Kingdom, and Yuder's father laying out the real point of this expedition: cull as many monsters as possible before they head home. Yuder agrees without hesitation, but catches his father staring off at something in the distance, and has to ask what exactly he's looking at. Turns out it's not idle daydreaming. Fresh intel from Victor just came in, and Alex has been quietly reading through it. Yuder tenses at Victor's name, bracing for bad news. But it's the opposite word is. He's looking noticeably healthier, almost ready to jump back into martial arts. His father presses further. Has the 9-blocked yin pathway curse actually healed? Not completely, but the necklace of the sun that he and Cordelia recovered together is slowly working its magic. Yuder can barely believe it. Alex grins, certain that if a certain count ever heard this update, he'd be overjoyed. Yuder tries to steer the conversation elsewhere, wondering aloud if this little chat counts as enough of a break already. Not so fast. His father reminds him not to run the soldiers ragged just because he's in a hurry to keep moving. I know, but Alex admits it and draws his sword anyway. Some urges don't listen to reason. That restless urgency has a name, Jude Bayer, heir to Count Bayer and Yuder's older brother, pushing himself to be even 1 second faster just to see a healthy Yuder that much sooner. Gale can't help himself. He has to ask. Is he doing well, his younger brother? For one quiet beat, the sky over the frontier just breathes, and that's where Ending Maker truly begins. That calm doesn't last. Somewhere far from the frontier, a low, chilling laugh cuts straight through the silence. 2 ominous figures emerge from the dark, a crimson-cloaked man radiating raw menace, and a boy in a military uniform, head bowed, drenched in dread. The scene shifts to a gilded palace dining hall, where that same boy sits across from the man in red, at a table set for anything but a friendly chat. Every ounce of recovery he's clawed back thanks to the necklace of the sun feels like it's draining out in real time, hands going cold, stomach turning to stone. It's a dread he's only felt once before, standing face to face with the monster Lisagang. This time, the monster is a man calmly holding a teacup. That man has a name and it lands like a verdict. Arthur Chase. Alongside his longtime friend Count Bayer, he's one of the legendary 4 great northern powers, a title that alone should end most conversations before they start. On the battlefield, they call him the Crimson Storm, one of Seal Rune Kingdom's deadliest battle mages, capable of turning a fight into a literal firestorm. And apparently his own daughter has picked up the nickname Yellowstorm somewhere along the way, one she has absolutely no clue about. In the story's original version, none of this was even supposed to happen. Count Chase had no reason to ever cross paths with Yuder, since the frail original Yuder and Cordelia were always fated to quietly drift apart. Back then, Cordelia vanishing during a social gathering was the twist that shattered their engagement for good. But nothing about this timeline is following the script anymore, starting with the tense little tea ceremony happening right now. This entire sit-down is one more crack in the original story, and Yuder is sitting right in the middle of it. Deflecting under the pressure, his brain locks onto something painfully mundane. The tea is way too sweet. Did the maid make a mistake? Then the paranoia kicks in. What if that wasn't a mistake at all? What if it was on purpose? Before the spiral gets worse, Arthur finally speaks. There are, apparently, a few things he'd like to bring up. He rises to his full, intimidating height and lays out exactly what this meeting is really about. Stories. Stories he's heard. The silence that follows somehow lands louder than anything either of them could have said out loud. Yuder's mind goes completely blank. What does he even say right now? Full panic mode kicks in during a crisis like this. Should he just kneel? Arthur's answer lands like a sentence being handed down. Yuder has just received the opportunity of a lifetime, and from the look in his eyes, it is anything but a gift. A holy relic changes hands. A Sundere lord hands over a mystery box like it's nothing, and somewhere across the castle, a princess wakes up feeling strangely off. The magician gives a startled jolt as the necklace is produced. Yes, he admits, I was lucky to have obtained the necklace of the sun. The room seems to hum with reverence as the reveal settles in. A hand closes around the glowing pendant. This is it! The red-haired lord studies the relic like a man who just found a cheat code. The religious order's greatest treasure, a relic. This is quite the opportunity of a lifetime. The magician stays quiet, watching him closely, suspicious. He isn't saying much about the crisis as a magician. Really? This interested in a necklace? The lord murmurs to himself, transfixed. To think this item would radiate this much yang energy. Everything else will now be useless. What? The magician blurts, catching the mutter he wasn't meant to hear. The lord scoffs, grudging. I brought it, so I might as well give it to you anyway. A small wooden box lands on the table with a decisive clatter. The magician just blinks. I'm saying this ahead of time, but it isn't much, the lord grumbles. All the magician can manage is a flustered, thank you? Inside his head, disbelief is already spiraling. He's giving me this? I guess I'm allowed to open it? Wow! The lid flips open in a blaze of light, and for one glorious second, it looks exactly like a proposal. It is not a ring. It's a Game-a-Tier loot drop, the Extreme Yang Pill, 2 stars, radiating pure alchemical yang energy, the kind of ingredient people usually farm dungeons for. This is something! Purple lightning cracks through the room as the magician loses his composure completely. He catches himself mid-gush. Thank you! Ahem! He swallows it whole and straightens up like nothing happened. The lord's eyes narrow, unreadable, and I also heard that when you both fell off the cliff, Princess Cordelia carried you and jumped off. A memory flashes the two of them tangled together mid-fall. Is that true? It's true. The magician's smirk returns instantly. There's no way he's admitting he's also gotten a piggyback ride out of this. The lord's face darkens with pure disdain. You weak bastard! The magician has no idea if that's aimed at him or not. Another gift lands on the table. These are berries that will help increase your strength since there are only weakling magicians who can barely hold their staves around here. Huh? You should eat them instead. The magician, still stinging from the insult, manages only a flustered, "Thank you." Then it hits him. Berries that increase your strength? Perhaps. He undoes the ribbon with shaking fingers. Confirmed strength berries, 2-star rarity, straight out of a late game. These are actually strength berries? Lightning cracks across the panel again. This man does not do subtle reactions. These are items you can't even see in the early parts of the game, and he's just handing them over like loose change. The Lord adds, almost bashful about it, "Since both the extreme yang pill and the strength berries have a bitter taste, eat them together with the tea." The gears finally click. So this was why they gave me such sweet tea. Now I've connected the dots. He's polite to the point of stubbornness, and somehow that only makes the gruff act less convincing. Tea is sipped, tension settles, and the scene fades quietly into darkness. Elsewhere, morning light spills into an empty, immaculate parlor. A hand stirs against the sheets. Princess Cordelia blinks awake with a groggy, "Ugh!" She stretches out across the bed. "I slept well and I just woke up." Then the confusion sets in. But why do I feel so stuffy? And that's exactly where the chapter leaves her. More gifts, more secrets, and one very confused princess. The story picks back up next time. Yuder just got caught wearing a ring he was never supposed to keep, and it's about to blow up his entire fake engagement. Sitting alone, Yuder can't stop staring at the ring on his finger, replaying every kind thing his fiancée's father has done for him. Could this gruff earl actually be a genuinely good person underneath it all? Or rather, maybe there's a simpler explanation forming in his head. "I think he likes me a lot," Yuder realizes, grinning to himself. Across the estate, Earl Chase, Cordelia's stone-faced father, narrows his eyes like he's already caught onto something. He storms over to the table and Yuder freezes, terrified he's about to be scolded for something. "That ring," the Earl demands. Yuder stammers that it's just a gift he was sent before. "I'm always wearing it," Yuder insists, holding up his hand to show the ring glinting on his finger. So how did this whole engagement even start? Here's the reason Yuder and Cordelia ended up promised to each other. Earl Bayer and Earl Chase had been friends for years. So long ago the two families struck a prenatal engagement between their children. The catch, neither Yuder nor Cordelia ever agreed to it themselves. The whole thing was decided over their heads before they were even born. Which is exactly why the two of them grew up with the most awkward relationship imaginable. But nobles have appearances to keep up, so Earl Chase sent Yuder a couple's ring set, too embarrassed to just say what it really was. Cordelia's response to her own matching ring is ice cold. That ring, throw it away." Yuder can only manage a stunned, in response. "Excuse me?" he blurts. So suddenly, the Bayel estate towers in the distance, gardens in full bloom as the story rewinds further. Ending Maker by Tweeryong and Dunn. Yuder finally works up the nerve to ask why she suddenly wants the ring gone, pointing out she's the only one who's ever actually worn it. Thinking it over, he realizes he's never once seen Cordelia wearing hers either. His attendant confirms it. "You're correct, sir." Word comes back that she says she simply lost it by accident. Earl Chase weighs it off. He was planning to commission new ones for the pair anyway, so there's no need to make a fuss over it. Privately, though, he suspects she didn't lose it at all. She threw it away on purpose. Cordelia herself once raged that she'd never marry someone like Outboxer, setting the ring's fate on automatic. Yuder simply agrees. "Yes, I shall do that." Earl Bael admits he'd been on edge, half expecting Yuder to show up and call off the engagement entirely, remembering the night he once screamed at him to take the ring and get away from his daughter. "But now I'm certain," the Earl says, his expression darkening. "Certain that Yuder is just someone who has a painfully hard time showing his real feelings honestly. Watching him, Yuder can't help but think Cordelia is unmistakably Earl Chase's daughter, personality and all. It has to be genetic." Another thing, Earl Chase adds, mentioning he's heard Yuder will be joining Cordelia at the upcoming social gathering. "Yes, father-in-law," Yuder confirms. "Father," Yuder says, catching him off guard mid-bite. The Earl clears his throat, caught red-handed enjoying cake like an embarrassed kid. He warns Yuder his frail body might not survive the long journey ahead, insisting he'll need serious stamina to travel that far, and hands over a loaded gift bag to prove it. Yuder can hardly believe his haul. "Thank you, father." The gifts keep coming: jewelry boxes, a mysterious perfume bottle, wrapped parcels, all laid out before the Earl finally waves him off with a curt, "You may leave." "Yes, I shall excuse myself then, father-in-law," Yuder says with a bow, leaving the Earl with nothing but a dismissive stuffed to the brim. Yuder still feels strangely invigorated as he wanders the halls afterward. "It feels nice even with how full my tummy is," he muses, right before a startled "Owie!" rings out from somewhere nearby. Cordelia comes barreling down the hall in a flowing white gown, flanked by a maid and a startled attendant. "You're finally here?" Yuder greets her calmly, which only makes her angrier. "Finally here? How can you be so nonchalant? When did you arrive? Why didn't you tell me you were coming?" "Calm down, yay? I mean, Cordelia," he backpedals. "It was a sudden summons, so I didn't have time to reach out to you, and nothing big happened." She's not buying it. "Why would my father summon you if it's not a big deal?" Off to the side, the maids whisper nervously among themselves, wondering if he got scolded or if the engagement is somehow already all off. Ahem. Miss Cordelia, Uter says, trying to steer the conversation somewhere safer. I looked around the mansion on my way here, and the garden was really beautiful, he offers. Cordelia just stares. What the hell are you suddenly on about? So vulgar, he mutters to himself, before working up the courage to continue. If it's okay with you, would you give me the honor of taking you out on a walk, he finally asks, the estate's gardens sprawling out behind them. Two head out together, leaving the mansion behind for the quiet of the grounds. Cordelia isn't finished interrogating him, though. So what you're saying, she presses, eyeing him suspiciously, is that my dad gave you a mountain of items? Yeah, Uter admits sheepishly, before adding that the Earl basically told him to get stronger so he can carry her around, even though, in fairness, he never actually said that out loud. Cordelia is fuming the moment Uter sets her down. Gross, I can walk with my own 2 legs, thank you very much, she snaps, realizing he just let slip that he knew they'd secretly run off together at the flower field earlier. She demands to know exactly what got said to make him bring that up, and insists he should have led with that in the first place. Yeah, I'm sorry, Uter placates her, admitting the real issue was never that they ran, it was that he'd been the one carrying her the whole way, which is also exactly why her father showered him with all those gifts afterward. That's all there was? I guess I worried about nothing, she mutters. Yeah, it really was nothing, he confirms, right as an image of Earl Chase's own indignant humph flashes through his mind, mirrored by an identical huff from Cordelia, like father, like daughter. He can't help but think that huffy little sound is pure Earl Chase, even if she clearly gets her looks mostly from her mother's side. Cordelia complains her father made her eat so much beforehand that her stomach feels ready to burst. Wow, complaining about being full, Uter teases back, adding that now she finally understands his own suffering from being force-fed mana potions back at the dungeon. She blinks, suddenly catching something. Oh? What? What's wrong? He asks, and she leans in for a closer look. The dark circles under your eyes are gone, she notes. The 9 yin blocked pathways must be getting better. A pink-haired girl teases him. You looked so gloomy before. Uter can only think that she's surprisingly observant for noticing something like that. But she's too close, he thinks nervously, before brushing it off with a casual, well, you know. Ahem. Now, next up is Earl Bayer, he continues, as in my dad. He's set to come back in 10 days at the latest. Yep, it's as you're guessing, he confirms. I'm now in good enough condition to start learning martial arts. She lights up. I knew it! So does that mean you're now preparing for the Father's Test quest? Yeah, I don't have a choice, he admits, since I can't leave Bailrune without doing that. You have a point, she agrees. It's a must in order to start Jude Bayer's main scenario, because from the release of Legend of Heroes 2, Uter was always a character that's been long neglected by players, an extremely slow start with a rough physical penalty right out of the gate. That's Jude Bayer. Just like other online games, Legend of Heroes 2 has both noble characters that are popular with users and unpopular characters that are neglected. A fan tier list circulating online ranks the whole cast, with a note to just consider it a meme, though the comments make clear almost nobody plays Uter because his start is so slow. Uter was a character that few people played even in that tier list. While Cordelia was an unpopular character due to having a doom and gloom scenario and high play difficulty, Uter's own stats skewed toward looks and story, but nothing worth the grind. The biggest reason people avoided playing Uter is that the character's setting is just super frustrating. One of Uter's biggest downsides is the 9 yin block pathways, which is naturally cured by progressing the story and obtaining the Fire Sun fish, allegedly found on the way over, though everyone can tell that's obviously a lie, it's really just a gift from Earl Chase. The time you're actually cured of it is over half a year after the game even starts. So if you were to ask what someone can even do while playing Uter for that entire half year, well, either watch the last leaf outside the window while sitting in bed all day, faint over and over trying to control a body that gives out if you walk for more than 10 minutes, or get creative and invent your own ways to pass out entirely. The game lobs it all. You don't have enough stamina, over and over, while NPCs panic and players joke that all they did was change clothes 4 times before collapsing. At the start, Uter is basically just a minor, pretty boy, sickly side character, and you have to experience through that pain just to play him. Who'd actually want to play such a frustrating character in a video game? He does eventually awaken to talent worthy of a real protagonist later, but even he admits he gets why nobody wanted to sign up for such a lame start. Also, treating the 9 yin block pathways is just the beginning of the grind. You can't even leave the territory until you clear the Father's Test quest, which has him wondering why he ended up playing as Uter again when he used to main a character called Outboxer, half convinced he should have picked someone else entirely. That's the second reason Uter became such an unpopular character. Father's Test is the quest that proves to Earl Bayer that Uter's illness has actually been cured. It's a necessary first quest in order to make it to the main scenario, the notorious quest known simply as Father's Test. To complete it, you have to train Uter according to Earl Bayer's standards. Standards that are, because they're far above average, brutal to live up to. That means staying tied up in the mansion for a month or 2 even after recovery, and this quest has been revealed to have 0 roundabout shortcuts. It's the very first quest, and you can't even skip or auto it. The routine is straight out of a hero, training montage 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, 100 squats, and a 10-kilometer run every single day, with Uter half convinced he'll go bald if he keeps this up. But having no shortcuts, he realizes, is just baked into how the game was designed. Back in the present, the memory fades as Cordelia's hair sweeps past in the garden breeze. Doesn't that take a really long time? She asks, wondering aloud if he'll even make it to the social gathering in time. About that, Uter starts, rummaging for something, and she just tilts her head, waiting. He holds up a glowing necklace. I shouldn't have any problems thanks to this. She immediately recognizes it. Necklace of the Sun? How? You know how this is an item that only has a 3-drop rate in the game? He reminds her. Well, yeah, she admits. It's a super high tier item. Don't you think we've already made it big by obtaining such a precious item? He asks, recalling how Earl Chase himself looked stunned holding it out to him. Even Earl Chase called it very fortunate when he saw it, Uter adds. Cordelia blinks. Huh? Yeah, you have a point. And I even got an unexpected gift by coming here, he goes on. Even you said I look pretty healthy, he adds, jokingly comparing himself to Santa Claus with all his new gifts in tow. Ooh, Cordelia says, catching on. So you're saying you already meet his standards? Yeah, he nods. Also, his expression softens into something warmer than either of them expected. I have you! Cordelia freezes, caught completely off guard by the sudden line. What are you on about? She stammers, flustered. Why are you smiling like that? Her voice cracks into an even louder, Why are you smiling? Echoing off the garden around them. Watching from a distance, a maid giggles to herself. They get along so well as the two continue on, oblivious to being watched. And that wraps this chapter of Ending Maker, courtesy of Karatoon. Thanks for following along. Reaper Scans is recruiting Korean translators and proofreaders, so if you're reading here, check their Discord for details, and thanks again for watching. 1 week passes, and calm mornings return to the mansion for now. A maid's knock stirs Cordelia from her book, still getting used to this new, gilded life. The maid delivers unwelcome news. Young Master Uter has sent a letter, and Cordelia already dreads what's inside. She snatches it up, bracing herself before even breaking the seal. Alone with the letter, she mutters, What's it now? Already regretting getting involved with him. She groans, realizing she wasn't supposed to see him again until right before the social gathering, so why is he writing now? The letter opens with, To my beloved Cordelia, whom I miss dearly, and she wants to gag before finishing the first line. She decides to skip the flattery entirely and dig straight for whatever he's actually trying to say. Buried in the fluff, Count Alex Bayer, Uter's father, is finally returning from his expedition, and now she has to respond somehow. Frustrated, she realizes there's no date, no plan, nothing, just vague obligation dumped in her lap. A knock breaks the moment Dahlia's back, and this time it's the Count's own orders. Word spreads through the estate. Grounds Count Alex Bayer is arriving home from his expedition that very day. The order comes down clear pack up, because she's expected at the Bayer estate for the social. Cordelia freezes, the reality of it all sinking in silently. All she can choke out is a stunned, huh? Right as fate slams the door shut behind her. 2 days later, noon strikes in the Bayer estate's dining room, and the real ordeal begins. Boxed in between Uter, his razor-sharp brother, and the intimidating Count, she can only think, how did I even get here? She barely remembers more than the carriage ride with her father. She has no idea why she agreed to any of this. She imagines she must have looked just as dazed showing up to the Chase estate before, silently begging the moment to pass. Panic spikes as she realizes this entire scenario doesn't exist anywhere in the game's storyline. Talk at the table turns to luck. Finding the necklace of the sun out in the flower field sounds almost too convenient to be real. Uter can't help himself, gushing that she's nothing less than a goddess of fortune for the entire Bayer estate. The Count just grunts in irritation while Cordelia scrambles to downplay the praise, tripping over her own words. A slip of the tongue calling, the quiet, sharp-eyed man Sir brother-in-law warns her his most dangerous smile yet. Internally she's mortified, ready to be sick, while he needles Uter for being the lucky one in all this. As the meal wraps up, the Count's voice cuts straight through the room, calling her out by name. He's heard she has a request for him, and he wants it laid bare right now, in front of everyone. Put on the spot, all she can manage is a broken, stammering, that's... Her nerves are painfully obvious to the whole table, especially to the man watching her squirm. Before she can spiral further, he steps in to speak for her aunt. The Count allows it. The request finally lands. Cordelia wants permission to attend the social gathering herself. The Count confirms the details coldly. It's being held in the trade city of Langest, just as the letter said. He admits he attended it himself years back, while his son points out Uter also qualifies, as one of the underage Northern clan members. It's settled as a child of the Bayer household. Uter is practically obligated to attend, and he agrees without a beat of hesitation. But the Count isn't done, and his tone shifts into something far colder. Wordlessly, his boot comes down hard, an unmistakable warning aimed straight at her. The brother leans in close with a private promise, get ready, because he's already got them 1 foot through the door. Cordelia panics on the spot, admitting she really doesn't want to go through with whatever he's planning. He only shrugs it off. There's no way to know if it'll work until they actually try it. The Bayers, he reminds her, are a household built entirely on fighting prowess. Then the Count lays down his real condition. He'll only allow her to leave the house if she can prove she's strong enough to protect herself. Father! She blurts out in shock, the room around her bracing hard for what comes next. Cordelia sobs the picture-perfect line I really want to go with. Young Master Uter, while the voice screaming underneath it says the exact opposite. Uter can only manage a stunned in response. Cut to the dinner table where Cordelia's father needles Arthur. Uter was bedridden until recently. Can he really be trusted? The necklace glowing at his throat says otherwise. The necklace of the sun is no trinket. It's a relic once carried by Garius, one of the legendary paladins of the sun god's order, and relics like that don't fall into a teenager's hands by coincidence. Arthur doesn't flinch. Sure, his son has room to grow, but he's already proven himself plenty. The dinner devolves into chaos, one kid shouting, "Niece, sir!" Mr. Father-in-law, while Arthur just asks, deadpan, am I wrong? Cordelia's mind keeps circling back to one question, can't her father just let this go? Count Bayer? Because everyone at that table knows the truth, Alex isn't denying her anything when she's begging like that. Hugh Uter's brain quietly loading up an all-out charm offensive. Alex Bile officially confused. If she's going this far, this won't do. He's caving. Then it happens. Arthur tells Uter straight up he's heard he's fit enough now to learn the family's martial arts. Uter's answer is one word, yes. And then Alex Bile, Cordelia's father himself, drops the bomb lessons start this afternoon. Both of them freeze. I'm quite the strict teacher. You better keep up, Uter. The Count isn't handing this off to anyone. He's teaching him personally. Morning after, the dads are already back to bickering. Isn't this what you were trying to say to me? That's what I heard. Cordelia can't process it. Count Bayer is going to teach you himself? Uter just as stunned, sounds like it? Because this has never happened before in the game. None of this was ever supposed to happen. A bonus reward content that flat out doesn't exist in the source material, unlocked by nobody but him. Cordelia can only laugh it off. Goddamn. Never thought things would turn out like this. Uter credits the necklace but admits impressing her father in that conversation helped just as much. Who would have thought he'd take our side? Cordelia marvels. It really is amazing though. Because Uter himself thought this was just going to be one bothersome scripted event over and done with, but it wasn't. To think that father himself would be the one teaching me. Cordelia just stares. Silence. She sees right through him. He's every bit as excited as she is to be living through something the game never wrote. Course he is. That's the high-ranker mindset. New content is a gift, not a chore. She can't resist needling him about it. What if the Count trains him and then decides to lock him down permanently over his 9-blocked yin pathways? Uter isn't having it. Those pathways have improved. He's mastered the 36 sky steps, and honestly, he bets the Count's the one who's in for a surprise. Whatever. I'm sure Outboxer will think of something. Just don't hurt yourself pushing your limits, got it? Yellowstorm. One word, dropped like a call sign. You really are just like your father. Course I am. Who else would I resemble? No, I'm not talking about looks, but whatever. Best not to talk about it. Uter's left with nothing but question marks. Cordelia, completely unbothered, pivots straight into, hey, by the way, your father is pretty hot. Uter actually stops to consider it, half-lidded eyes that somehow read as anything but weak, cold at first glance until he laughs and turns instantly approachable. Glad he's a good person, Cordelia thinks, heart practically glowing. The maid Dahlia's voice cuts through the garden time to head back. I'll be going then. I'll bring everything you asked me to prepare for the event, don't worry. Right, be careful on your way back. Cordelia takes off running for the gate without looking back. Left alone, Uter starts to say it's nothing important, but he can't shake the thought. Wasn't Uter supposed to be programmed to look exactly like his father? Silence. Just footsteps down the tree-lined path. His head starts throbbing bad enough that the maid asks if he's got a headache. Inside, he's telling himself not to think too deeply about it. No, I'm fine, he is it. Not really, but the mansion's waiting, and that's a problem for later. The estate goes quiet behind him, gates closing on a question he's not ready to answer yet. That's where part 2 leaves it. The Count's about to become Uter's personal teacher, and the game's script just ran out of pages. Chapter 15 continues from here. 4 brutal days of secret training just ended, and the road trip that could make or break the whole plan is about to begin. Dawn breaks over the Bayer estate, carriage already loaded and someone's groaning like the day's already lost before it started. Turns out both leads spent those 4 days grinding themselves into the ground solo, each one hoping the other hadn't done the same. Hey, you too? Yeah, me too. First thing out of his mouth isn't a greeting, it's an interrogation. Did the training actually produce results? She's not spilling a thing yet. Fang-bared, smug grin locked in. I said I'll show you in the valley. Cue the send-off. Count Bayer clears his throat and the picture-perfect farewell scene kicks off right on schedule. One of the escorts can barely contain herself over getting to tag along all the way to Langest. Nerves and excitement in equal measure, but the carriage is loaded and preparations are officially complete. Cordelia scrambles to board. The wheels are already turning under her feet. Final words from the send-off crew have a good trip, and try not to get hurt, the one request these stories never quite honor. I'll be back, shouted twice. Same words from 2 different windows of a carriage already pulling away. Classic setup before an arc goes sideways. And they're off. Wheels rolling, destination Langest. The estate blurs past below as the carriage picks up speed, putting real distance between them and home. Mile after mile, nothing but green scenery and the steady rhythm of hooves on the road. The road rolls on, and so does the story. Small talk aboard the carriage. Quiet concern doing a poor job of masking bigger worries. Are you cold? I'm all right. Alone at last, and Uter wastes no time getting to business time, distressed as the plan for anything that could go wrong. Cordelia confirms the real cargo, every last magic component smuggled in, hidden inside her bag and stitched into her dress. Yuder leans full gadget cat, handing over the requested magic medicine and towel with a warning not to be the type who never pays back a favor. Short, simple, no hesitation, she takes the goods and gets straight to work. He's already caught on. She's about to draw a magic circle mid-ride, and he's more worried about her getting Karajesic than about the spell work itself. Draw now, rest later, and she turns the worry right back on him. Stop fussing and get some sleep first. No arguing with eyes sore from an all-night reading binge. Deals made, sleep now, spellcraft later. Then Yuder's thoughts drift somewhere heavier back to the game's plot, and whatever's supposed to happen next. His eyes narrow. Whatever he's bracing for, it's serious. Cut straight to the consequence. The road ahead forces a detour, no way around it. Morning comes, and the wrecked path makes the delay official. Word reaches them fast. The path ahead is a dead end. Jun, the knight assigned to guard Yuder, lays it out plain. The bridge up ahead collapsed, and every traveler on the road is turning back because of it. Only one option left, the long way around, and Maya's already spiraling. Yuder isn't long off his sickbed, and this detour isn't going to make things easier. Jun tries to smooth it over. Cordelia's got recovery magic in her back pocket now, so they should be fine either way. Turns out her all-nighter wasn't just recovery spells. Somewhere along the way she also picked up paralysis magic, wicked and very much not part of the original plan. New route, locked in the gentler mountain path, even if it costs him a full extra day. June snaps to attention, calling out to Maya as the group sets off down the new path. He rattles off the full vow, escort the young master and young miss as safely as possible, and, blushing hard, protect Miss Maya too. Maya's answer comes back dead serious. She'll protect them with her life, no hesitation. Someone deflates the drama fast. Ideally, nobody has to protect anybody because nothing goes wrong at all. Cordelia turns the moment into something else entirely, with a look and a line loaded with more than she's letting on. Please, take care of me! Then Yuder freezes mid-conversation. Something out there just caught his attention. Hey, did you hear that? Cordelia's answer isn't relief, it's a flat, ominous, not that, and the chapter cuts out before anyone can ask what she means. Somewhere on a detour through the mountains, a throwaway line of game text is about to turn into a full-blown event. It starts small. The guard escort said something to Maya, and apparently everyone already knows about it. Cordelia freezes. In the game, this exact moment only ever got a single line. The mountain path was taken as a detour. Hearing the actual conversation play out live has her equal parts starstruck and panicking that it's happening because she's the one riding along. The male lead doesn't sugarcoat it. One look at the setup and he calls it exactly what it is, a death flag, plain and simple. Dead silence. Cordelia opens her mouth to explain the game logic, gets a flat what in response, and immediately decides it's not worth the trouble. Trying to change the subject, Cordelia zeroes in on the real mystery, what he's been snacking on this whole ride, and what's in that suspicious little pouch. Turns out it's nothing exciting. He's just eating the medicine her father prepared for him, and the pouch is spending money her father handed over. He was literally about to count it. Cordelia's jaw drops. Since when did he get a cash allowance from her own dad? Her solution, split it 50-50. His answer, absolutely not. This was a gift. Why would he share? She's not backing down. That money was clearly meant to buy her something delicious, so as far as she's concerned, it's already hers by default. He offers a compromise. He'll do the math fairly and buy her something nice with it. She's not interested in fair. She wants it split, right now, no negotiations. Embers crackle against a blood-arranged sky as the day burns down into night. Night falls over the campsite, and with it comes the kind of quiet that only exists right before someone does something they shouldn't. While the fire pops and settles, the guard on watch duty is fighting a losing battle against sleep, head bobbing lower with every nod. And that's exactly the opening 2 pairs of feet needed. Past the roasting meat, past the dozing guard, a pink hem, and a pair of boots slip quietly into the dark tree line. Deep in the woods, adrenaline hits. Cordelia can't stop swearing under her breath about how close they came to getting caught. Relief turns into nervous energy fast. Hands shaking, hearts pounding. The plan is simple. Find the target, kill it quick, and get back before anyone notices they're gone. A rustle in the brush stops them both cold. There it is! Found it! The chase leads somewhere unexpected. A hidden waterfall glowing faintly under the moonlight, completely silent except for the water. But this isn't just scenery. A title card confirms it. This is the hidden event Cordelia Chase can trigger on the mountain detour route, and it's about to be replayed from an angle nobody saw coming. It only fires late at night, exactly like right now, when Cordelia slips away from the campsite completely alone. The pressure of shaking hands with 12 noble family heirs, plus the weight of being the Chase family's youngest daughter, finally catches up to her. She needs a minute alone, so she heads for a creek to wash off the sweat. And what she finds waiting at that creek, hidden from every prying eye in camp, is about to change everything. A moon so bright it drowns out every star in the sky hangs over the water as she settles in. After a sight that beautiful, Cordelia can't help herself. She starts to sing. The melody drifts out over the water, soft and unplanned, pulled straight from a moment she never expected to have. The song spreads slowly across the spooky creek, curling upward like it's reaching for something. Something answers. A mysterious presence appears, drawn straight to the sound of her voice, and that's where the game conveniently cuts the footage. The rest is omitted. Between the fairy tale visuals and the dreamlike mood Cordelia swept up in, this scene practically sells itself as a promotional shot. On paper, it reads like a throwaway service event, just fan service dressed up as lore. But players call it something else, entirely a joking not joking core requirement for anyone running Cordelia. Yellowstorm. If that name rings a bell, it should, because it's the kind of reward players do not pass up. Back in the present, the male lead lays it out with a grin. Nobody else can trigger this event. Only Cordelia can pull it off. Cordelia's face says everything her mouth doesn't. This is not the plan she signed up for. She tries to bail immediately. She doesn't want to do it. He's not letting her off that easy, reminding her exactly what's on the line and that neither of them wants to walk away from that reward. The reality of it hits her all over again, hand pressed to her face like she's bracing for impact. He's completely unbothered, treating it as obvious. Of course he came prepared. He'll grab whatever advantage he can get. That's exactly why she packed a swimsuit in the first place. He goes one step further, pulling out a cloth stitched with a full magic circle that he apparently sewed himself, fighting off motion sickness in the carriage the entire time. His pep talk cheer up. Cordelia caves, dragging both hands down her face with a groan. Fine, she'll do it. She'll nail this thing perfectly. But there's a catch brewing behind her eyes, and it's not the kind of catch he's going to like. He's still holding the cloth, completely unaware that the tables are about to turn on him. Then she drops it. He's wearing a swimsuit too. His only response is a stunned, single word, "What?" That's where this chapter leaves things hanging, credits rolling on a cliffhanger nobody saw coming. Ending Maker Chapter 17 opens on a flashback nobody asked to relive, and it's about to collide head-on with a swimsuit standoff that spirals completely out of control. Deep in a memory neither of them chose to revisit, something is burning in the dark. A lone campfire crackles under a starlit sky, the kind of quiet calm that always comes right before disaster in a story like this. A girl with pale, silvery hair jolts upright in bed, disoriented, croaking out that she's thirsty as the dream claws its way back to the surface. Her eyes are hollow, haunted by something this memory refuses to let go of. She curls forward on the sheet, shaken, like the nightmare hasn't actually finished with her yet. Then one name slips out of her, quiet and desperate, young Master Uter, and suddenly, this is not just a throwaway dream. The title card flashes up like a warning label. Whatever that flashback was, it is going to matter later. Cut to the present, where Cordelia is already grumbling that this isn't even her event, but her friends aren't letting her off that easy. Uter tries the classic dodge, claiming he didn't even pack a swimsuit, right before getting completely blindsided. Cordelia already thought of everything, pulling out an exact replica of his own in-game cash shop swim trunks like she's been plotting this for weeks. He tries to talk himself down before this turns into a full meltdown, muttering at his own temper to calm down. Cordelia isn't backing off either. She endured hell by his side for the necklace of the sun, and now it's officially his turn to suffer. He fires back that she was the one who was actually necessary for all that she doesn't need to be here for this part. Cordelia isn't having it. It's humiliating enough being the only one showing skin while he stands there fully dressed next to her. He goes completely quiet, caught off guard by that one. The two just stand there for a beat, the standoff finally cracking under its own weight. He lets out a long sigh and caves fine. Cordelia lights up instantly, victory achieved, already promising she'll put it on. She teases that the trunk should fit just right since they're roughly the same height cue, an extremely awkward size comparison. Toppin'. Something catches her eye up close, and her whole expression shifts. She clocks it immediately. His lips have gone blue and demands to know since when he's been freezing. He shrugs it off with a very on-brand excuse. His body runs cold because of his blocked 9-yin pathways, so he genuinely didn't notice. Cordelia just stares, completely unimpressed by yet another wuxia-tier explanation for a basic human problem. She goes quiet, something clearly working behind her eyes as she watches him. He reaches out, trying to hurry things along before she can overthink it any further. Then Cordelia does a total 180, never mind, don't even bother putting it on. He's baffled, asking flat out why she just flipped her decision like that. Turns out she'd been worried the whole time. What if he's the one who catches a cold now? He waves it off with classic tsundere logic. He's not about to let a weakling like her catch a cold, purely because dealing with a sick teammate would be embarrassing, obviously. Cordelia loses it completely. She dragged that swimsuit all the way out here for nothing and lets him have it with one super slam to the back. She snaps that. Unless he'd rolled around in an actual mud puddle, he should have just endured it in silence, and even mid-rant, he can't help but admit she's more considerate than her potty mouth lets on. He finally relents for real, admitting he's not the only one at risk of catching cold, so they better hurry this up. She grumbles a reluctant, Roger, and heads for the water, the argument officially over. The question hangs heavy over the misty waterfall. Is he actually ready for what comes next? Whatever he's bracing for stops him completely in his tracks. She yelps a flustered W. Wait, caught mid-change and nowhere near ready for an audience. The threat comes out sharp, an immediate turnaround now, and it's over for him. He points out the obvious, that she's wearing a swimsuit underneath anyway, and after some grumbling, she finally lets him look. He waits by the tree as she walks ahead toward the water, tossing one last line back over her shoulder. You done? And part 1 closes right on the edge of the lake. Forget swords and magic circles. Tonight's biggest spectacle starts with a girl, a freezing creek, and a nursery rhyme that somehow summons real fairies. But first, the plan. Under moonlight, the walk to the water begins. Cordelia slips through a rose-covered gate, moving quiet and quick like she's got a secret to keep. She hikes up her hem and creeps toward the creek, bare feet testing the cold ground. He's already waiting among the trees, silent as a shadow. He can't help the thought creeping in. He knew she was pretty, but seeing her like this hits different. She catches him staring, dead in the face. Cordelia goes nuclear, cheeks blazing. What are you staring at? Nothing. He lies through his teeth, then can't resist needling her anyway. What a pretty yellow tempest, because apparently poking the bear is his love language. I'm getting in the water, so hide properly, she orders. He salutes with a cheeky Roger. She snaps back instantly. Don't copy me. The second she hits the water, she regrets everything. It is brutally, unbearably cold. Wrapped in a towel and shivering, she's a wreck, and from the trees, he's silently losing it too, wondering if Cordelia has completely lost her mind, bathing in a creek in the dead of winter. His solution starts sinning right now, before they both actually freeze to death. He blows warmth into his cupped hands, bracing for whatever happens next. Then she freezes, and this time it isn't the cold. Wait. A question surfaces from somewhere deep. What song did Cordelia sing in this exact scene? It's buried in Cordelia's own memory, which means she should know it by heart. Something about stars, she's almost sure. Star, something. The memory won't come. She dunks straight under the water in sheer panic, the game's most iconic scene, and her mind is a total blank. She surfaces with a look that could curdle milk. She genuinely cannot remember the song from the event. So he does the only reasonable thing a man in his position can do, starts belting, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Somehow, impossibly, she goes along with it. How I wonder what you are praying hands and everything. Then reality catches up. Wait, time out, she yells, whipping around. You're supposed to sing the song from the game. He shrugs it off completely. Stars, moon, whatever, close enough, and drops the line that ends the argument cold. This isn't a game. There are no timeouts in real life. Somewhere in the chaos, tragedy strikes mostly because she's the one who swore she'd nail this scene perfectly. But she talks herself into it anyway. Different song, same singer, sure it lacks the mysticism, but maybe cute words just as well. He catches that last word and does a double take. Cute? Somewhere beyond the trees, something in the dark starts to answer the song. A light stirs among the branches, drawn straight in by the melody. He notices it first, and his whole expression shifts. The night itself seems to hum right along with her. It's here, he breathes, as she keeps singing up above the world so high. Light threads down through the trees and settles over the water like a diamond in the sky, exactly like the song promised. She trails off into a soft twinkle twinkle, and a voice that isn't his says, "Hey, you're very pretty," the voice says, and Cordelia turns to find she is not alone in the water anymore. Her jaw drops. This is actually happening! Two fairies hover just out of reach, bickering about her towel and her looks in equal measure, living, glowing proof that fairies are real, and they only ever show up for Cordelia's exact scene. The improvised lullaby actually worked. Against a forgotten lyric and a completely botched rehearsal, the fairies are really here. End of chapter. The fairies stay, and so does the mystery of how a butchered nursery rhyme just rewrote the scene. That's the cliffhanger for this chapter. More of Cordelia's story coming soon. Hey, he says, you're very pretty. Cordelia freezes, completely caught off guard. They're really here, the fairy she's heard so much about, and they're closer than she thinks. Two fairies flit around, gossiping shamelessly about the girl bathing in a towel, deciding her looks are all that matters. They admire her rose-pink hair, purring that being pretty really is the best, and Cordelia can't help but awkwardly agree. One fairy begs her to finish the song she'd started humming. Cordelia hesitates. The thing is... Hidden behind the trees, a mysterious boy listens in, muttering about the fairy's obsession with looks while they decide to just listen to her new song. He smirks to himself, so her face mattered more than her voice after all. Now it's time for that guy to make his entrance. A map lays it all out. The boy waiting in the shadows, Cordelia surrounded by fairies, and something dangerous marked not far away. The title flashes. Ending Maker is just getting started. The fairies remember their manners. Right, we forgot to introduce ourselves. We're fairies. Cordelia can only manage a stunned, "Ah, okay." They invite her to their queen's ball, insisting she's exactly the kind of pretty girl their queen adores. They scheme to bill her as the night's guest singer, certain her looks and voice will win the whole crowd over. You'll come with us, right? They press. Cordelia can't help but find their chaotic energy endearing. Wading deeper into the water, she starts to explain herself, but something is bubbling ominously beneath the surface. Across the clearing, the boy's eyes go wide. He's seen this coming. "Cordelia!" he screams, sprinting toward the water as something massive stirs beneath her. "Get out of the water!" he roars, while the fairies, oblivious to the danger, are too busy admiring the handsome stranger. They coo over his pale snow-like skin right as Cordelia realizes with horror that the bicorn hasn't shown itself yet. It's coming from somewhere else entirely. Its real hiding spot revealed a heartbeat too late. The water explodes as the beast bursts out from beneath her, fully submerged no more. A monstrous horn shape rockets out of the depths right behind her, towering and dark. Cordelia turns, eyes wide, realizing exactly what's been lurking under the water with her the whole time. She backs toward the rocks as the creature's silhouette closes in from the falls above. The bicorn reveals itself in full twisted horns, a burning red eye locked on its prey. Submerged and cornered, Cordelia's panic finally breaks through. She curses under her breath, realizing just how much trouble she's actually in. The bicorn rears back, unleashing a surge of raw magic into the night sky. An unseen force yanks her clean out of the water. "Whoa!" she yelps, suspended in a swirling bubble of energy. "Cordelia!" the boy shouts, breaking into a full sprint as the fairies scream that a bicorn has appeared. It's telekinesis. The bicorn is controlling her from a distance, and there's nowhere for her to run. The boy sprints after her, screaming for her to get out of there. The bicorn isn't just attacking, it's trying to drag her away with it entirely. Deep underwater, a strange magic circle ignites around the beast's horns. Cordelia grunts in pain as the creature tightens its grip on her. The bicorn rears back to full height level 21 and clearly not messing around. "Cordelia, it's trying to take you away!" "I know!" she snaps back, fighting to stay conscious. It snorts triumphantly, holding her pinned against its side. Trapped, she realizes her current magic isn't strong enough to break the telekinesis holding her. But that just means she needs another plan. With a defiant yell, she twists and strikes back with everything she's got. She lands blow after blow, refusing to go down without a fight. The boy watches, stunned by what she's pulling off. The bicorn recoils, its red eye flickering. She actually heard it. She crashes down hard, groaning as her head spins from the impact. Her eyes snap open. "This isn't over yet!" She flexes her freed hand. "All right, I'm free!" A burst of magic ripples out from where she's standing. She's thrown clear, tumbling through the air and water alike. A hand breaks the surface, reaching for something to hold on to. She surfaces, gasping, magic crackling around her. Her sleeve trails through the current as her fingers stretch toward the light. The water erupts again. This time it's her turn to strike. Her hand shoots up out of the water, finger pointed straight at her target. The boy grins and unleashes his own spell, Magic Missile. A volley of glowing bolts rains down on the bicorn from every angle. Beams of light collide and cross, closing in on the beast. The missiles slam home, carving straight through its guard. The impact rips through the creature, magic tearing into flesh. A glowing, summoning circle burns into the ground, the fight's reaching its climax. A blinding flash consumes the bicorn as the spell finally connects. The boy stands firm, magic still radiating off him as the dust settles. With the bicorn down, this chapter comes to a close, but the story is far from over. Chapter 19 kicks off with the boy who cheats death itself, dropping straight into a boss fight. No warm-up, no mercy. A golden magic circle ignites around a strange glowing shard, ancient runes waking up on hallowed ground. Light erupts skyward as a rider comes screaming down out of the heavens on a demonic steed, torn straight out of a legend. He lands in a crouch, coat snapping in the wind, calm as ever while the world around him detonates. The beast beneath him rears back with a furious neigh, horns crackling, absolutely done with this ride. His two fairy companions shriek and cover their eyes, completely blinded by the flash. Classic comic relief timing. The scene blurs and shakes. Reality itself seems to stutter for a second. The horned mount staggers, dazed, red eyes flickering after that violent entrance. And then the pink-haired mage breaks the surface of the water with a gasp, soaked and sputtering. She coughs herself back to her senses, completely disoriented, clearly not expecting to end up here. A voice cuts through the chaos, calling out the beast's name. "Outboxer." The male lead's eyes narrow beneath messy dark hair, unreadable and razor-sharp, already reading the fight 3 moves ahead. Ending Maker. Ending Maker. Energy crackles down from above as he readies himself for round 2. He stands at a waterfall's edge, chain weapon in hand, waiting for his opening. He plants his foot and launches, a burst of speed tearing across the stone. Skill activated 36 sky steps. He blurs across the water like it's solid ground. He touches down on a ledge above the beast, the shadow of Outboxer looming just beneath the surface. The monster resurfaces, horns dripping, breathing hard and furious. Extreme close-up on its glowing red eye, murder written all over it. He's reflected right there in that massive eye, smirking like he's already won. The strike lands clean, a brutal red impact tearing across the beast's skull. Fist meets face, full force, no hesitation. Before the beast can recover, he's already chanting, a holy incantation lighting up his hand. "Oh light that pushes away night, oh glory that brightens the morning." Then he just stops mid-prayer. "I don't have time, so I'll skip the rest. No patience for flowery magic words when there's a monster to punch." Skill Thunder Pummel. Lightning racks his fists as the barrage begins. Punch after punch after punch, a storm of thunder-charged knuckles raining down without mercy. The beast reels under the assault, sparks exploding off its skull with every hit. He lands the combo and steps back, smug and unbothered, like this was routine. Something makes him snap around, guard instantly back up. The beast's eye flares red again. It's not finished, not even close. It rears up with a furious neigh, ready to come back swinging. A roar rattles the air as he stares it down, dead calm. His internal monologue kicks in. "I purposely attacked the face, but because it's a mid-level boss and there's a level gap, it won't go down that easy. This was never going to be a one-punch win." He resets his stance, weapon ready, gearing up to go again. "Well, I guess I should be glad," he mutters dryly. "A boss with a little fight left in it beats a boring cakewalk." Meanwhile, the pink-haired mage starts casting. By infusing the fire attribute onto magic missile, it's tricky trying to use fire magic near water, she grumbles, dripping wet and clearly annoyed at her own element choice. Her eyes flash as she pivots strategy, staff igniting with a different kind of power. She plants herself on a massive glowing magic circle, arm raised high, about to drop something huge on the battlefield. A blazing crimson rose ignites the sky as Cordelia throws everything she has, flame howling around her outstretched hand. The blast detonates into a blinding wall of gold fire, swallowing the whole ridge in light. It worked, she squeals, floored that her own spell actually landed that clean. Rewind a beat, she'd screamed, "Fire missile!" Mid-freefall off the cliff, launching straight down at the horned beast below. The blast rips through the canyon, her staff still smoking as the shockwave tears past her. But the bicorn barely flinches. The horned titan just stands there, smoke curling off its hide like it shrugged the hit off completely. Its eye burns molten red, locked dead on her, not scared, not even annoyed, just patient. Her partner closes in from the ridge above, watching the standoff unfold in silence. She lands hard by the creek, her rose-tipped staff still smoking from the cast. "I think some of the creek just evaporated with that," she brags. "As expected of my power, he doesn't even blink. It wasn't a compliment." Ever the gamer at heart, she grumbles that in the actual game this would have been an 80-hit fire missile barrage and still no level-up chime to show for it. "Not yet," he says flatly, eyes narrowing on the beast as it lets out a low growl. "Then let's continue as planned," he adds, and something in her stare sharpens to match his. Normally, clearing this event just means scaring the bicorn off the field. But she knows exactly what that horn does if it's left in play, and she's not about to let this one walk away. A quick cutaway, he agrees with a flat Roger. She snaps back, "Hey, I told you not to copy me." Back to business. The bicorn's whip-fast tail cracks through the trees as he plants himself on the rocks. Cordelia strolls forward barefoot, staff in hand, all but daring it to make a move. The beast is huffing hard now, blood streaking its face. The fight is finally starting to cost it something. "It looks very weakened. I'll take it down if I see an opening," he says. She just scoffs. "Don't make me laugh." She rounds on him. "Who said you could have the last hit?" He's unbothered, closing in anyway. "We're in the same party, you know." "So? I'm not gonna lose to you," she fires back, already moving. She flashes him a taunting little wave, daring him to try and beat her to it. The bicorn roars and lunges, claws raking the air right where she just stood. She's already sprinting across the water's surface, staff leveled straight at the beast. A crimson slash tears down through the rain of magic, her strike lands clean. The bicorn staggers, letting out a pained roar as the hit connects. He barks at her to watch her timing, outbox her, and she answers by slamming her staff into the ground. "Dig!" His eyes narrow, calm as ever, as he finishes the combo, and "Bind!" Golden chains erupt from the earth and lash around the beast, and it howls, thrashing against the restraints. She watches, tense. It's furious, straining against the chains, and she knows the hold won't last long. The chains groan and spark, metal grinding as the bicorn fights to tear itself free. She throws everything into a second binding, more chains rocketing out to reinforce the first. The backlash hits her like a wave, hair whipping, body racked as the spell tears through her on the way out. Her stats flicker into view. Cordelia Chase, Magician, level 10. HP's holding, but MP is scraped down to nothing and she sways, dizzy, right at her limit. That's where the Raws leave off. For now, new chapters of Ending Maker drop every Friday. The team behind this release is still catching up week to week, so more of Cordelia and her rival tearing through this fight is already on the way. That's the chapter the bicorns chained, but nowhere near finished, and neither is she. Cordelia Chase, level 10 mage, is running on fumes and her health bar shows it. One word slips out of her, a pained, exhausted, "ah." She wonders if casting spell after spell back to back is what's eating her mana this fast. Standing is getting hard. She can't believe she's actually feeling dizzy from mana exhaustion, of all things, rookie mistake, and she knows it. Then the real threat rises behind her, a massive horned shadow beast unfurling out of the water, lightning crackling across the battlefield as it looms over her tiny frame. A voice drifts out of the mist, almost casual about it. "Well, charge at me with all your might." Cordelia's face goes tight, but... She finishes the thought with a smirk, hiding under the exhaustion. "I've already dug holes in advance, though." Cue the reveal. Dig, rank C, terrain-changing magic that carves holes straight into the ground. This was never a fair fight, it was a trap dressed up as one. The beast crashes forward into her prepared kill zone, water exploding as it plunges straight into her dugout pit. Underwater now, and there's no climbing out of a hole built specifically to swallow it whole. Bubbles roar upward as the trap monster thrashes for air it isn't going to get. A single, panicked, says everything. It just realized this was never a battlefield, it was a grave she dug in advance. The struggle keeps churning the water, but struggling in a sealed pit only burns through what little time it has left. Terrain control, plain and simple, an ability that lets her reshape the ground itself to dictate exactly how a fight goes down. And she's not shy about the flex. That's just basic knowledge for a mage. Confidence dripping off every word. Victory earned, but not painless. "Phew, but my head hurts from running out of mana," she admits, slumping down on the stone. A voice cuts through her recovery. "Hey, I'm going to let you go for the last attack, he says, gold magic already gathering and coiling around his fingers like he's been waiting for the invite. The full picture lands a battle-ready ally stepping in, magic circles blazing gold and teal, more than ready to close this out with her. Cordelia doesn't even blink. I know, 2 words, zero hesitation, she called this ending before he offered it. Title card hits Ending Maker, the scene cuts hard, and the story rewinds to somewhere and someone much younger. A castle courtyard at dawn. We'll finish up the training here, someone calls out. Sword drills wrapping for the day. A sharp-eyed father figure sizes up the boy in front of him. I'm glad that you're able to move without any issues, just as Victor had told me. The boy answers plainly, yes, father, then adds, almost bashful about it, although it's just training with the kingdom's basic swordsmanship. His father doesn't let the modesty slide. Yuda, your talent for martial arts is definitely one that's blessed by the heavens. Then the pause that changes everything. But, the kind of but that means the compliment was only half the sentence. Young Yuda grips his blade, waiting for the rest of it. His father doesn't soften the blow. It's meaningless if your body can't keep up. Yeah, Yuda answers, catching the real point fast. Rather than being dragged around by the weight of your sword, talent alone was never going to be enough. Time's short and his father knows it. Before you leave for Langast, I'll focus on teaching you 2 things for the next 3 days. The first will be, his father starts, already stepping toward the training post, blade angled and ready to show instead of tell. Lightning erupts off the strike, pure electric force ripping the air apart in one clean release. The lightning strike for you to use in normal situations, not the flashy finisher, the bread and butter move meant to be reliable every single time. The demonstration lands full force, the training post catching the brunt of it as the technique tears through with brutal, controlled violence. The strike keeps carving through, dummy and target wheel alike caught in the follow-through. This is the move that's about to define everything Yuta becomes. A blink, a single flash of lightning, that's all the time this move needs, and by the end of this chapter, one demon-horned monster is about to find out exactly why. Years back, a training dummy gets cracked wide open, and his mentor lays out the promised land this right, and 7 strikes hit the enemy before they even register the first one. But there's a catch. Try this without full control over your ki, and the same move leaves you standing wide open, frozen in place while you charge it. A snap of the fingers seals the lesson. This is the move built specifically to punish an enemy who's already left themselves exposed. His mentor grins, confident. Landed clean, this isn't just a strike, it's the one that ends the fight outright. The memory dissolves, fading back into the present. And just like that, the lesson snaps back to now, wind roaring past him. He plants his heel and the ground detonates beneath him, no time to hesitate, no time to think. He tears across the water at full sprint, and something massive with curling horns is already barreling toward the shore ahead of him. A single blood-red eye locks onto its target through the spray. And that target is her relaxed, barefoot, completely unaware that a demon horn monster is thundering straight for her back. He's already there. Nothing but an afterimage, deflecting blow after blow before the beast even registers that he's moved. He doesn't even flinch. Peace sign up, grinning. This is a girl who's used to being saved before she realizes she needed saving. Rain hammers the riverbank as he squares up, calling on the exact technique his mentor once drilled into him. The beast doesn't slow down for anyone's backstory. It keeps coming. Static gathers in his palm, crackling brighter with every second that passes. Horns lower, it's closing the distance fast, aiming to gore straight through him. Its red eye burns through the downpour, locked dead ahead. This is the most powerful technique that I'm able to use right now, he says, lightning coiling tighter around his fist. Every nerve locks in as the storm itself seems to answer his call, wrapping around him in threads of gold and green. Lightning Fist, the technique built to end a fight before the enemy even finishes their swing. Knuckles meet horn, and the sky itself looks like it cracks open on impact. White light swallows the entire riverbank whole. The shockwave sends water and stone flying in every direction as the blast tears through. Drenched and stunned, she can only watch the wall of light roll past her. Her breath catches, eyes wide, even she didn't expect that kind of power out of him. And somehow, impossibly, the beast is still standing. Its ribs heave, smoke curling off scorched horns, but it refuses to go down. And just like his mentor warned him years ago, this move has a price, legs buckling, chi completely spent, wide open the instant the strike leaves his fist. The rain keeps falling, the beast keeps breathing, and this fight is far from over.